are based on income. What is being taxed is income. Tax in Nigeria. The business entity in Nigeria is going to get taxed. If you buy crypto, you just bought the crypto, you're holding the crypto in your wallet. Are you going to get taxed? No, that's not income. You've bought something, right? Or maybe you had crypto this year, it's not being taxed this year. What happens next year? Are you going to get taxed? No, because that's an asset you have brought over. But what if you staked that crypto, which means you put that crypto like in your crypto bank and it's paying you interest? Would you get taxed? Of course, because you're not earning income from your assets. So it's not the assets that are going to get taxed, guys. It's the income that's going to get taxed. The other thing I want to clarify is that I've seen lots of folks on Twitter posting the tables. You are not going to get taxed according to those tables. That's not how taxes work. When you file taxes on an assessment, you're going to put your income. That's the first thing you put, your total income. You put your total income. Then the government gives you a broad-based deduction, like an allowance, or they'll say, listen, if you make 1 million, we're going to give you a standard deduction. So you take that away. Then there's what we call above the line deductions, where the government will say if you do certain activities, you will not pay tax. So in Nigeria's case, if you contribute to a retirement savings account, what you contribute is taken away from your income. If you buy life insurance for yourself and for your spouse, you take that out of your income. If you contribute to National Housing Fund, take that out. Contribute to National Health Insurance Scheme, take that out. If you're buying a house or you've bought a house and you're paying a mortgage, the mortgage interest, take that out as well, right? So if you take all this, that means you can get income, but you don't take that income and say the tax table says 20% I'm going to pay. No, you deduct all those allowances out. Then you then look at that rainfall, that waterfall, and say, okay, what I've left over my income is 10%, 15%. That's where you now tax your taxes. You get your effective tax. And Americans call it your AMT. What's your effective tax rate? So it's not the 25 or 15% you see that's your effective tax rate. That's the table. You're going to use that table less your deductions to get your effective tax. So there are two things we're not capturing. Number one is you've got to do your deductions. And number two, we are taxing income, not assets, not transfers, income. If you have 100 million in your bank account, will it be taxed? Well, did you get income on it? So it's the income on the 100,000, not the 100,000 that's going to get taxed. All right, let's go to my first guy. I think I got Babatunde. Babatunde, how you doing? And guys, I'm also on YouTube. Just in case you have a question, you can also ask on YouTube, or you can follow if you want to follow as well. And then we can also. Babatunde, hi. You want to unmute and ask your question? We're going to keep this very, very short, guys. I'm going to be the number one. Babatunde, go ahead.
I'm fine. I'm fine. Good day.
How are
So
you doing, sir?
I'm fine. So my question, I have a question actually. I've been reading a lot of tweets about the new tax reform. So my
Yeah.
question is regarding the income. Like, for example, me now, I work with a construction firm, and sometimes my boss sends me some money into my personal account
Mm,
for the money is for site runnings. Probably we need to buy fuel, we need to buy some other supplies and all that. So
mm,
I'll be the one, you send the money to me, then
mm,
I'll be the one to pay for it,
mm,
logistics and some other things.
mm.
So my question is, by January 2026, am I going to be taxed for every cash, for every inflows that comes right into my personal account? Because not all of them are my income, just like you explained. How
Mm.
is the government going to know that this particular money is not his income. This is different from this and that. So that's my major question.
Yeah, that's a good question. And that's the same question I've had a lot in Nigeria, right? So let me just give you advice. The inflow to your account, it can be income, it cannot be income. You would have to explain to the tax authorities if it's income or not income. So why have that hassle? So I would say from 2020, from January 1st, 2026, stop that practice. If your company has wants to do pay for issues, open a corporate account. They make you a signer or they give you a petty cash on a corporate account and you pay from that account. You cannot mix business and personal on your personal account. Because what will happen when the government pulls your bank statement, they're going to see 20 million or whatever million in your bank statement. But your income tax is going to see you earn 100,000. What the tax guy will do, they'll issue what's called a best of judgment. They'll say, well, based on 20 million, come and pay us 5 million or whatever. And then you have to start explaining your way out of that. So why take that chance? Simply tell your boss now that going forward, let's go open a corporate account, make me the signer, give me a debit card. So that money goes to the corporate account. You're the signer is the same exact thing, not to your personal account. And it's to everybody here. You can no longer mix your personal and your business. Whether you work for yourself or you work for someone, don't receive money into your account that is not for business. If it's a personal account, keep it personal. If it's a business account, keep it business, right? So I hope that answers your question, Batine.
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Let's get Austin. Austin Neo. Yeah, I'm going to ask Adebayo not to worry. Austin Neo, you got the floor. Go ahead, sir. Okay, let's get PO. Let's get PO. Philip CKO. Philip CKO. Hey, go ahead, Philip.
Mr. Kalu, good evening.
How you doing, sir? Welcome. What's happening?
It's a pleasure being on your platform, and I'm sure you know I follow your audience. So, nice having to be here. So, I just have just two questions, and it goes like this. With all the deductions which you listed, like if you're paying for mortgage, you are paying for your
Pensions,
PSO,
National Housing
your
Fund, and all that.
pension, and all that. In all that, are you going to say, let's assume that, let's say there are eight or five thereabout, and maybe I am only doing two.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, how will that be assessed based off on the inflows that come into my account? And
Mm-hmm.
another thing, I think why you've just clearly advised that people have to move their let's say they are running some petty cash and they're running a business, why you've
Mm-hmm.
advised them to go open a company account in a situation whereby um, I have a company account which is already running, and I run all my expenses through that. I know there's something you mentioned like tax evasion.
Mm-hmm.
You said something about so how legally are we allowed to evade tax? Thank you.
No, no. So your first question was so look at. Let me just explain again for those that were just joining. When you pay
All
taxes,
right.
if you go online, you see all those tables, right? You see all those tables that will say um, tax is 25%. That's not how taxes work. That table is just showing you the table. But when you want to pay taxes, you're going to start off by doing what we call you file your assessment. The top line of your assessment is going to be your total income. From that total
Okay.
income, you are not taxed on total income. You are taxed after you have taken all your deductions. So if I make
Oh,
a
okay.
million naira income, the government will say, okay, what deductions have you done? If I contribute
Yeah.
2 million to my RSA, for instance, and I make 10 million, then I'm only going to pay taxes on 8 million. You have to take all the deductions out, then you have your net income less deductions. Is that net income less deductions that you would then apply the tax rate to? So in effect, if you don't want to pay tax to the government, you contribute to your retirement savings account. The government says you pay 18%, 8% from your paycheck, 10% from the company. The government also says you can
Yeah.
do an additional voluntary contribution, which you can pay.
So now,
So
yeah.
somebody's asking
Yeah.
on the message, I work for myself, I don't have a pension scheme. The government allows you to open up your own retirement savings account using your own company as
Yeah.
your employer. So what you want to do going forward, 2026, is to pay yourself basic housing transport on your pay slip. Don't pay yourself 10,000 or 1 million or 500,000 salary. No, you hire a tax guy. There are many softwares that can do this for you. You have to pay yourself according to these classifications: your basic salary, your housing, and your transport. Very important. You can pay yourself other stuff, but make sure you classify basic housing and transport. Why? That's what you're going to use, right? To pay, to deduct from your income from your taxes. So when you deduct that from your
Okay.
taxes, your income falls, your taxable income goes down. Is the
Well,
taxable income you then apply that table you are seeing that is being shared around. So if I earn a million, I don't pay 20% on my million. No, I pay 20% on the income left over my deductions. So that answers your first
that is
question.
true.
Your second question,
Yeah.
I don't know how else to, I don't want to go into specific examples. All I'm telling you is this: if you have a business, separate your personal account and your personal transactions from your business account. Even if you say, yeah, even if you can't open up a business account, right? Open two personal accounts. Even if you say, oh, I don't have a business, I do jobs just on the go. Maybe I'm a hustler. I do jobs on the
Yeah.
go. I don't have a business. Open two personal accounts. One of them is going to be just your own personal transactions. So if my business hustle pays me a million and I want to pay myself a salary, I take my 200,000 from that my other personal account and I pay to my own personal account the
Definitely.
200K. That
Second
other
one.
account is where I do my hustle, my in, my out. I pay for this, I pay for that. That's where
Yeah.
I do it. Even if you don't have a business, because when a tax man comes, it's very simple. You bring out two accounts. They'll have to, because remember what they've done. I advised you guys on the last space. Please do not start off this year thinking that you can evade taxes. Tax avoidance is legal. You can avoid taxes by buying life insurance. But if you evade taxes, that's illegal. They are very, very organized now. They've connected your bank accounts to your import duties and all that. So they can track what you're doing. So it's not advisable for you to try to say, I want to avoid taxes by don't try that. Let that not be your strategy. Rather, use the laws that they've given to you and avoid paying huge taxes rather than evading. So what I'm trying to say is if you go to your bank account, your BVN is all going to be there. They're all going to see everything. So when the tax man comes, say, no, no, this is my personal account for my own transactions. This is my business account. And on that business account, that's where you also put your business expenses. So your phone call, use your phone to call your people to to do transactions. You pay the bill from that your
Yeah.
transaction bank account. You do all
Yeah.
the business on that transaction bank account. You use your personal account to do your own personal stuff. Again, guys, I recommend you open a business account. But if you
Yeah.
cannot,
Definitely.
at least separate your own personal things. You are eating food, you are paying school fees from the account that you do your runnings with. Very, very important. All right, guys. Austin, yeah, thank you so
Okay.
much.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Austin, you can drop off once you're done, yeah, so I can add other people, yeah? Okay, Austin, I can hear you now. Go
You,
ahead. Austin, go for it.
okay, so I have like a few questions. First of all, you
You
mentioned having two. Yeah, you said you mentioned having two personal accounts. Use one for business. Maybe one is one because somebody is an hustler and all that. Okay,
let me
and
clarify, right? I prefer you
okay,
open a business account. But if you
okay,
cannot, I'm saying last, open two personal accounts. Last.
okay. Let's assume that the second personal account you use it for your ins, your day-to-day expenses and all that, and the government intends to like audit such accounts. How do we now explain that?
There's nothing wrong with that. They can audit the
Okay,
account. There's nothing wrong with having 10 accounts. All I'm saying is that
okay.
make sure you have your transaction, your business accounts separate. Don't mix them. So if I am a
So
hustler, maybe I clear goods at the port. So I hustle, I
yeah,
get people to buy things. Informal business. All the pay they pay me, all the money they give me, they give me check, they give
yeah.
me commission. I pay to my
Okay.
transaction account. Everything will
Okay.
generate. Every month or every week, I pay myself a salary. On that transaction account, I'll write salary to Kalu. I'll debit that account. I'll pay to my personal account. Salary to
Okay.
Kalu. It doesn't have to be the same salary. It can be,
Okay.
it can be,
I understand. Let me ask
yeah,
you another question. Sorry. What about rent? When somebody receive rents like rental income, so how does that now? What it means we have to also pay tax on that as well.
correct, because that's income. You're going to pay tax on that. So what I'll
Then
advise you
final
again,
question.
what I'll
Okay.
advise you, just again for other
Go
people,
ahead.
open up a separate bank account per property. So
Okay.
if you own 10 properties, go and open 10 bank accounts. And each
Okay.
property would have a bank account, and then the expenses for that property would be on that bank account. So if you pay NEPA,
Okay.
put NEPA on that account. If you pay for
Okay.
security, put security on that bank account. Why? Because when you do your P&L for that building, you put
Yes.
income, which is rent, and you write off the security, the phone, the drainage, the LASMA on that building.
Yes.
So that building
Okay.
will pay income, will might pay income or might not pay income, because that building is going to write off its taxes. So don't put it in one pool. You can put all your property in one account and debit all your expenses. You can do that as well. I recommend one
But
bank
it,
per
but
building.
it becomes complex, right?
Both are okay, but it's simpler to do
Okay.
one to one. If you have an accountant that can do it. If you're just a small guy
Okay.
and you own two buildings, you can
One,
use one
one,
account called it rent. Yeah.
okay, one last question. What about inflows from overseas? Like, okay, I'm in Canada. Sometimes I send money back home for project and all that. I already paid tax over here. So what happens to like when the money gets into the account? You say government have to go like try to know, okay, this is the money that came into your account, and they kind of tax want somebody from those inflows. So how does one differentiate such a transaction or something like that?
That's another popular question. The government does not tax inflow. When we talk about tax, we're only talking
Okay.
personal income tax. We're not talking about bank levy tax or VAT. We're only talking personal income tax, correct? So government will
Yes.
not tax the inflow. What government is taxing is the income that inflow is generating. Now, if you pay your mother a 1 million naira, I mean, America, I send a 1 million naira to my mother.
This myself. I send money to myself,
It
please.
doesn't matter. So
Have you-
I'm answering your question. I hear you. If you
Okay.
send money to yourself, so it's not
Okay.
income to you. But
Okay.
what is that money doing in Nigeria? What's it doing in Nigeria? Why are you sending money to yourself?
Projects, but let's say
What kind of project? Welfare or
a
business?
construction.
So you
Construction.
are doing business. Okay, that's fine. The income will not incur tax because it's inflow. But
Okay.
if that inflow went to a current account or a savings
Okay.
account, current account usually does not pay tax. Let's assume it doesn't pay taxes in current account. But if it goes to a
Okay.
savings account, the savings account will pay you interest. So you pay
Okay.
interest on the income earned from interest. That's what you pay tax on.
Okay.
But the inflow itself is not its inflow. It hasn't generated any activity. So it won't generate a tax. Government is not going to go to your account and tax it. That's not
Okay.
income. What they will tax is the income made from the account, the interest income. That's what they will make. Number two,
Okay. Okay.
government will use that income to say, if this man can send a 1 million naira a month to his account, that means he's earning at least a 1 million naira. So they look at your bank account and say, are you paying taxes as someone that is earning 1 million a month? So it's not direct. I see people on Twitter saying, if you took 20 million, no, 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 no. It's not direct.
Okay.
Taxes. So the point I'm trying to make to people is this: you have to change your behavior from
Yes.
2026. When we tax cigarettes, is to make you change your behavior. The government is
Okay.
saying in the past, we did not tax you if you do not have a pension account. Now, if you
Yeah.
do not have a pension account, they will tax you, because if you open the pension account, you don't pay a tax. So the government is taxing you for not having health insurance, for not having pensions, for not paying life insurance for you and your wife. They're taxing you for that. So change your
Okay.
behavior, change how you spend, change all this stuff before you worry about taxes. We're not for or against taxes. We're explaining to you so you can then change how you operate from 2026 going forward. Hope that answers your question.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Also, yeah, William, go for it, William.
Yeah, Mr. Kalu, thanks a lot. I have actually similar question. I think one of the questions is, for example, I live overseas, and most of my banking, I think, I keep literally 60% or 70% of my income in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Will I tax on my income, that money that I've been
No,
already
no.
taxed from?
Ask your question again. It's not income in Nigeria. You said you earn in America, for instance. You earn abroad, right? So
Right. But
when you send it to Nigeria, what
I,
income is that? There's no income in Nigeria.
okay, all right. Two, and how is it that these tax laws that these people are passing now, is this law not just going to be something they use for the average Nigerian and they
Okay.
scapegoat themselves?
So I'm being very. I don't want us. If we bring that side into this argument, we'll lose it. Let's just focus on the mechanics of this whole tax regime, because that's what many people here are tuning to listen to. Let's not do government whether they want to spend. The government has a trust deficit. That's why this is a big issue for them. These taxes. I've studied the tax thing in depth because that's my field. I understand it perfectly. Many people do
Yeah,
not. Let me try to be very, very fair and frank. If you are a quote unquote, I don't know the word to use, and if you don't earn enough money in Nigeria, if you are what they call income deficient in Nigeria, this tax law favors you. Because what they've done is that they've said if you earn money up to 800,000 naira, they will not tax you at all. Don't even worry. Just carry go. So if I earn a year, 700,000, just leave the space and go and sleep. Go and watch Man U Chelsea. If you earn less than 800,000 a year, just go, you are fine. If you have a business, and the business does turnover, that's what they use, not me, turnover of less than 50 million naira, go leave this space, go and watch Chelsea, Man U, go away, you are fine. It is the folks that earn above 800,000 per annum, and the folks whose business earn above 50 million, and the folks who are going to buy and sell shares. I think it's 150 million. I think for shares, that's the cap. If you buy or sell shares, 150 million. Those are the ones that are going to worry. When I did my calculation without deductions, so I just did without deductions. I just put the old scheme and the new scheme without deductions. I think you have to hit 19 million per annum for your income for you to pay more taxes. Again, without deduction. That means with deduction, it will change. But without deductions, if you earn 5 million under the on today, you will pay less taxes. If you earn 10,
yeah.
you pay less taxes. It's when you get to 19, I stress, without deduction, that's when your taxes will go up. So it's sort of it's a very progressive tax law they've passed. But there are a lot of what I don't like in the tax law is that in the past, whether you pay tax, you don't pay tax, the government gives you 20% of your payroll as a tax allowance plus 200,000. So you just get that automatic. Now you don't get it automatic. You have to go and do something. You have to go and buy pension. You have to go and buy insurance. You have to go and buy pay for NHF for any height to get that deduction. That's what I don't particularly like, because you took away the automatic deduction and replaced it with investment-based deduction. But apart from that, that's just a summary of what I think is in the scheme.
Okay, thank you. Got it. But now, okay, for example, I have a property in
Yeah.
Nigeria. I took money as like a loan here, right? I just built the property. I just started collecting money. So are they going to start taxing me on this property?
No, they don't tax assets. They tax the income the asset is creating. That's why I said have a bank.
Right. Because it's a rental property. So if I'm collecting rent, indirectly they're taxing me to
Not
pay them
not
back,
not
right?
indirectly, directly. If you collect rent, you'll be taxed directly. So the point I'm making is, on that building, go and get a bank
Right.
account so that the rent goes
Right.
to the bank account, and then the interest you are paying on your loan also comes from the bank account. So go to the bank you got the loan from. Did you get a loan from a bank?
I get the loan abroad though.
Okay, go to a Nigerian
Abroad.
bank. Go to no, nothing concerns with that one now. It's the money in Nigeria we're worried about. So if you take money from America and you build a house in Nigeria, we're not going to tax you on the money you brought in. As a matter of fact, we encourage you to do that. But when you build a house in Nigeria, you start to collect rents in Nigeria. They will tax you for rent, unless you have a double tax agreement between Nigeria and the country where you are in. You see what I'm saying? I know Kenya, for instance, I'm talking about this Kenya real estate that we're doing. If you buy property in Kenya, Nigeria and Kenya have double tax agreement. So you can go to Kenya and say, I borrow money from Kenya and paying tax in Nigeria. You can reconcile. So if you don't have a double tax agreement, then you have to pay that tax. You pay tax on the rental you are collecting, not the property value that you have. That's standard. That one is no argument. Income, that's what they're going to tax you directly on that. William, you're good? Let's move on. Yeah.
I'm a little bit skeptical with government because I think Nigeria
We're not going to go there. We're not going to go there. We're not going
currently,
to.
but that's
Well, no, if we go there, people want to hear about how to do things. I hear you, and I appreciate your pressure, but if we go there, it won't come out today. Let's just leave down. Let's just focus on what is it talking about and how we can navigate. I hear you, bro. I hear you. The government has a trust deficit.
truly appreciate if you make it actually maybe this on this because like then wire $1,000, I mean $10 out of your account.
No, I've said you. I've said it. What you should try to push for is that try to ask if the country you are moving money from has a double tax agreement with Nigeria. Just ask Grok. Grok, does Canada have a double tax agreement with Nigeria? If they have, find out what you need to do to show that you are taking loan in Canada, but you are investing in Nigeria. Will they write that off for you? Find out. I can find out for you, but that's after the space, yeah? All right, let's move to lady speaker, lady Labi. I got Labi. Labi, go for it.
Hi, thank you, Kalu. Okay,
How you
so my
doing?
question is, for instance, you move money from abroad to Nigeria and you invested in shares and equity. So,
Mm.
what is the implication for capital gain and also for dividend? Can you just touch on that? What is the tax implication for those two?
You good. So when you buy the shares, no tax. If you buy the shares and you hold the shares, no tax because you haven't made any income. So I brought $10,000 from America. I changed to 150, is that 1.5, right? 1.5 million. I used it to buy UBA. As I bought UBA shares, no problem. I don't pay any tax. If I get dividends, I pay 10%. So they will do withholding tax automatic. They will take that withholding tax on my dividend. But on the income that I pay on those shares, I don't pay any income tax. They will take withholding tax, but no income tax because I haven't done anything. I'm holding the shares. Next year, the shares go from 10 naira, for instance, to say 20 naira. So I've made 100% profit. Do I pay tax? No, because I haven't sold shares. I have what they call an unrealized profit. It's a profit, it's income, but I haven't realized it. I haven't sold it, but I get dividends. Fine. When I get the dividends, the government will tax it. They don't tax the shares I own, they tax the dividend. So as long as I don't sell, I do not pay income tax. The day I sell those shares, the government will calculate what I paid and what I sold. That profit is called capital gains. I also pay tax on that. So that's the flow for you. I know in this new law, there is a cap where you have to sell the shares to pay tax. I'm not sure. I think it's 150 million you have to have sold to trigger that tax. So I'm saying that there's a tax, but you have to get to a threshold to pay. So if you're just doing 1 million, 2 million, they won't tax you. Even though you've made a capital gain, you have to hit that 150 million threshold. If someone can check and send me a DM, please, on the actual threshold. I believe it's 150 million. I can't be type because I'm talking, but that's really what it is.
So, just
Does
to
that help, Labi?
clarify, if you're holding and you're getting dividend, you only pay withholding tax on the dividend, right? You don't pay
That is
partner.
correct.
Okay,
That
thank
is
you.
correct. Yes. So if you speak, you can drop off so I can just add someone else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Lydia. Hi, Lydia HOS. Lydia, how you doing?
All right, sir. Good evening, sir.
How you doing?
Thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks. Kalu is fine. Call me Kalu.
All right, sir. I want to ask a question, like for clarification. Someone with an annual income range of between 8 to 10 million per annum, and he has foreign shares in foreign company like Apple and NVIDIA. Hello, sir.
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yes. So the I don't think maybe would it be chargeable to tax since it's a foreign company. that I'm holding those shares in.
So so
Maybe
so
that and happen.
Lydia, Lydia, good question. Let me try to answer. Great question. So what you're asking is if you are in Nigeria but you own shares abroad, will they tax you? Yes and no. Number one, those in Nvidia pays dividend, very small. If they pay you a dividend in America, but you live in Nigeria, your tax base is Nigeria. So yes, you are supposed to pay tax in Nigeria for income you have made in America because you are assessed for taxes in Nigeria. But because that tax, this is what I'm not talking about deep withholding tax, personal income tax, because it is less than 150 million, you will not pay. You understand? So yes, you are liable, you are assessed, but because your threshold it's not 150 million, you don't pay. But the dividend that you earn, yes, you will pay tax on that dividend that you've earned. I'm not sure of how they will take the dividend. If Nvidia, when you buy those shares in Nigeria, when you buy, they pay you dividends in Nigeria. So that dividend comes to your bank account in Nigeria. Yes, you will get charged a tax, the withholding tax element. They will not tax the Nvidia shares. They will tax whatever dividend you are making from Nvidia shares. So if you bought Tesla that has no dividends, you don't pay a tax on that because you're just holding the shares. Even if they go up in price, it's an unrealized gain. So you're not going to pay personal income tax. Guys, I must stress, when I say tax, I'm referring to personal income tax, not withholding, not VAT. So don't say Kalu said there's no tax. I'm referring to personal income tax and not the other tax. So I know she's dropped off, but I hope you got your answer. Paul, please go ahead. Paul, and Nedjo.
Yeah,
Yeah, hi, go ahead, please.
yes, yes. Hi, Kalu. Good
How
evening.
you doing, sir?
So I'm good, thank you. Somebody had asked a question, but just for more clarification, you are outside the country, but you maintain a Nigerian DOM account
Uh-huh.
that has consistent inflows. Will that be taxable?
Assets are not taxed. Inflows are not taxed. There's no income. Inflow is not income. The question is,
Okay,
what is
okay.
that inflow being used for? If I am moving money from America to my DOM account, I haven't done a taxable transaction. Again,
Yeah.
personal income tax, not bank charge, personal income tax. I have not done anything. If I transfer that money in my DOM account from to my bank account in Nigeria, again, I have not
Yeah.
done anything. I've just transferred money. I haven't done anything. But the interest that the DOM account pays me, the bank account pays me,
Okay.
that is
Yeah.
taxable.
Okay.
Good. If I take that
Yeah.
money and I go and buy a house, and I bought, have I done a taxable transaction? No. I bought a house. When that house
Yeah.
pays me rent, then you see Nigerian Revenue Service because now you're earning income.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. That's clear. Thank
You're
you.
very welcome,
Yeah.
sir. Thank you, Paul. Pilgrim.
Yeah.
I got Pilgrim on Earth. Mazi Chike Okeke. How you doing, sir? Mazi, go for it.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Kano. Thank you for having us on this very sensitive topic. The question I wanted to ask, you've not fully answered it. I think you've asked someone to check up, which is
Okay.
the limit for equity.
Yeah.
But my second question would be, let's say for someone like me or any other person in the diaspora, let's say I have a pool of 100 million or whatever, in which in Nigeria, let's say I have a few of them in say commercial papers split between Dangote and other companies. Assuming, just let me use a fixed figure, assuming this commercial paper gives me about 25 million, which is what at maturity, the face value that it gives to me. And normally, usually a 10% withholding tax is applied at source before face value is paid out to me on maturity. So let's say for 100 million, this has been done already, and the 10% has been taken off the withholding tax. What comes back to me? Will it be still taxed again? I mean, within the limit of what you're saying, I just wanted to,
Yeah, so
please, if you
so
can
I
throw
answered
more
that
light.
question by saying that it depends on the country because there's what we call double tax agreement. And I use the example of Kenya, where I've been promoting a Kenyan real estate opportunity experience Nairobi. If a Nigerian goes to Kenya and buys a luxury flat in Kenya, Nigeria and Kenya have a double tax agreement. So if you pay tax in Kenya, you can come to Nigerian Revenue Service and say, I've already paid tax in Kenya. So use that tax as part of, don't double tax me. Yes. But if the country has no double tax agreement with Nigeria, whatever you pay in that country doesn't matter. You have to still pay in Nigeria. That's the simple answer. The capital gains threshold is, thank you, I've got two folks confirmed to me, it's 150 million naira. That means if you buy and sell shares and you don't hit 150 million naira, they will assess you, but you will not pay tax. So you make the profit, you'll be assessed, but you'll not pay tax. So the learning for us is to keep records. If either you keep your broker records or you keep your own software records and you say, oh, I bought this share, I sold that share, I bought this share, I sold that share. In America, it's done automatically. And there's a report
Yeah.
they give you. They give you your 1099 interest or your 1099 that if you do rob any American trading company you go to, at the end of the year, they give you a report that you're to give to IRS that shows your transactions and the income you made. When they give it automatically to the IRS. So in America, before I think it was 2022 or 2023, they do all this thing they call garage sales, where every summer you bring out things you don't like, you put them on your lawn and you sell.
Yeah.
Before, I think the threshold used to be about $20,000 before it would get reported. Now that threshold in America has moved down to $600. What America is saying is this: if you sell goods on your lawn, you bring your old clothes and you sell, you make $601. The income you get on your card or your bank account, they will send a copy to the IRS. It's not being
Okay.
taxed. They just send a copy to the IRS. So IRS has that record. When you file taxes, IRS will say, okay, you sold jeans for 601, but you say your income is $400. Red flag. Then they come. They're not asking you to pay tax on 600. It's the record is sent. That's the exemption Nigeria is going to do. So in Nigeria, when they look at, they're going to link everything together. So when you import a container with 50 million naira, then you have a bank account with 500 million naira. These two things are not taxed. They're not the income tax itself. But it tells the Nigerian Revenue Service that a guy that can import a container worth 50 million and a guy that has 500 million in his bank account should not be paying 10,000 naira taxes. It just doesn't make any sense. So it's not automatic that if you do this, you pay. No, no, no. It tells them who to go after. It's like it audits your transactions and it tells them this is a red flag, this is a red flag, this is a red flag. Go after these people.
Okay. Kind of sorry I cut you off. You a bit didn't. So on commercial papers, are commercial papers and the money market funds, are they treated in the same category as all capital market? Because like commercial papers, yes, sometimes you may initiate purchase from your broker, but so is commercial papers, money market funds, are they all categorized as equity?
Let's just be very clear. Commercial papers is a debt. That one is easy. It's debt. Once you buy debt, you are going to make interest income. Is taxable. End of story. End of
Okay,
story. You're
all
gonna
right.
so that's even the easier one to tax. There's no controversy there. The only debt you don't pay tax on is federal government bonds. So if
Okay,
I
thank
buy
you.
federal government bonds or savings bonds, I don't pay tax. But if I buy Dangote CP, I buy all those commercial papers, I go to my bank, bro, you're paying a tax. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys, for the 150 million. That's the cap. All right, let's get Babatunde. Hi, Babatunde. Hi, Pilgrim. Thank you so much. Babatunde, what's up?
Yes, I have a question. So I want to ask, when are we going to start the
January.
payment? Are we paying for 2025 in January,
Good.
or we are starting afresh by January?
No, you're going to pay in 2027, 2026 transactions. It starts 2026. So you're going to pay your taxes in 2027. That's personal income tax. But remember, those withholding tax things, if they pay you dividends, it's going to be taken in the year, so 2026. So it's next year, not this year, 2027, you will file taxes for 2026, which will have these rules.
So,
Okay,
Kalu,
thank you.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, one question.
Yeah.
So you mentioned tax avoidance
Yeah.
and tax evasion. The evasion is illegal, but avoidance.
Yeah.
What are the what are the instruments we can use to like avoid tax in the Nigerian settings?
So take your pen.
Like,
Let me say it again. I've said it before. Let me say it again. Just take your pen. I'll try to go very, very slow. I'll give you like
go ahead.
5. Going very, 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 very slow. Number 1, you open up a retirement savings account with your pension fund administrator. If you open up a retirement savings account, make sure the salary you are being paid by your employer, make sure it says
No,
basic.
sorry, I'm not talking. I'm not unemployed. So I have properties that's on.
I have to give
That's
the
what I'm
whole
looking at.
5 for the people that are listening.
Okay,
But in that
okay,
5,
okay,
you will see where you fall in. Number 1,
okay.
retirement savings account. Make sure you have basic housing transport on that account on your paycheck. Very important. Also, your additional voluntary contributions are also tax exempt. That's retirement. Number 2, if you buy life insurance, okay, like if you buy life insurance for yourself and for your wife, the premium you pay is tax deductible. You take it off your income. Number 3, if you contribute to National Housing Fund, you don't pay. That contribution is taken off your income. Number 4, you contribute to National Health Insurance Scheme. That contribution is taken off your account. Number 5, if you are building a property and you go to a bank and you take a loan, you are building a property worth 100 million, you go and borrow 100 million from Zenith Bank. Zenith Bank, for instance, charges you 10%. So you're going to pay 10 million. That interest you are paying, you deduct it from your taxable income of the business or your personal side. So that's what concerns you. Interest paid is deductible. So again, hire your accountant, keep your records, so that interest you have taken from the bank, you can deduct it from your taxable income.
Okay, okay.
Perfect. Let's get Jalil. I've got Jalil, sorry. Jalil Abiodun. Jalil, how you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Yeah,
Thank
what's your
you, sir.
question, sir? Please go ahead.
My question is that a business registered as a under name registration,
Mm-hmm.
that is limited liability company.
Mm.
Does that kind of business does it pay tax? CIT come.
That's a good question because it just said business, right? They said business. So I believe it should, because that's now a question of does the Nigerian Revenue Service consider name registration as a business? I'm not that deep into that laws. I don't know. That's a great question. Let me write it down. I can find out for you and tweet it. But if you have a business, it's 50 million. But you're asking a great question that would they consider name reg as a business? I don't know that answer. If anyone knows that answer on Twitter, please come back to me so I can answer Jalil. When name registers, if you go to many states, you can open up your name and do just enterprises. For instance, like an enterprise, it's not registered with the CAC, just enterprises. Is that considered the business that the Nigerian Revenue Service is talking about that will qualify for the 50 million naira deduction? Please, if you know the answer, please let me know on Twitter and I can let Jalen. Jalen, I don't know that answer.
Yeah, can I answer to
Yeah,
that,
please,
Kalu?
please go
Sorry.
ahead.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Thanks again, Kalu, for this your beautiful space. My experience with that is this thing about business name. The way the tax authorities consider you, they see you as a paying individual. So a business name is considered that you are self-employed. So the deductibles you get normally with limited liability companies, like for example, maybe you pay rents for your office and all those things, they don't consider it
Company.
under under a business name. So what I can really advise, because from statistics shows that 85%, according to Nairametrics, 85% of Nigerian workers are actually self-employed. So what that means is that there's going to be serious pressure from next year on individuals. Individuals might probably be
Okay.
getting their account blocked and all that. So
Okay.
what I will advise is people should get themselves registered, especially as limited liability, because that way you get a lot of cover that Carlo has mentioned. Carlo has said a lot of things. You get those covers, but if you want to still go with a business name, no problem.
Yeah.
But just know that you will be seen as an employer. So all your revenues
all your income will be taxed.
Yeah.
There won't be room for
Okay.
deductions and deductibles.
And,
Yeah.
and so on. I've got a lot of answers on Twitter as well. Thank you, Simon and the rest, and Ben and all that. So yes, who is the gentleman that asked the question? I hope he's not got off. Yes, if you have a business name, it is not. They do not consider it as company. It's going to be personal. So that means if you have those enterprises, you will not qualify for the 50 million tax deduction. Why are we holding this space today? You have September, October, November, December. Go and hire a lawyer, regularize your business, have a limited liability company, pay, and start to do the same business you are doing as a limited liability company. Again, this tax is going to change your behavior. I'm not saying you should not go and protest. I'm saying, first of all, you first of all organize the back end, then you go protest, right? If you want whatever you want to do, I'm not saying yes or no. I'm not supporting or against. I'm giving you information. Understand what you're doing, first of all. Change your behavior. I advised in the last space that we did, you should hire a lawyer, an accountant. You don't have to pay for a big accountant. Go to all these OND boys that are in university, accountancy boys or OND. Call like 3 or 4 of them, bring them and say, okay, this is my business, this is what I do, this is a new tax law. What should I do to comply with new tax law? Maybe we're not paying pension scheme. How do we start a pension scheme? Perhaps we're not capturing our expenses well. How do we capture it? They'll tell you. It's not, they're not inventing anything new. They'll just tell you, oh, do according to IFRS or according to this, do it this way, do it this way. You pay them. It's not going to cost you. Those boys will take from you 100 grand. You can pay those boys 100 grand. They're students for just come to talk your business. Give them lunch. I'm not saying, you get the point I'm making. So don't make it too complicated. The idea is that organize yourself because things are going to change from next year. Don't wait and say, I will not pay, I will evade, I'll hide. No, 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 no. The world has changed. We now have BVN, we have NIN. It's easier to track you. Unless I'm going to do cash. Who's going to do cash with you? Who's going to pay you cash in Nigeria that's coming? So I pay you cash, I have no records. And IRS says I paid cash, I should pay tax. Who's going to do that with you? So that means you just want to grow your business. So it's best to say I'm going to get organized and grow my business according to new tax rules, right? Okay, let's get majorities. Majority. J.
All right, good.
Adeluyi. Adeluyi, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, sir.
Great,
Good
sir.
day,
What's the
sir.
question? Yeah, hi.
All right. So my name is Majority. So my concern regarding this new act law is the part of virtual assets. So I want to get clarification because it says that when you sell, exchange, and even transfer, which is not income. So please, I just need more information regarding that. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so for not just for crypto assets, that crypto asset thing there doesn't say anything new. It's just putting the crypto asset there so that people know that yes, we are also referring to crypto assets the same way we refer to property, to cash, and to shares. It's the same rule. Holding an asset is not taxable. Transferring an asset is not taxable. Again, personal income tax. That's what I'm referring to. Not exchange, estate taxes, not withholding, not VAT. Personal income tax. So if I hold Bitcoin, if I have Bitcoin from 2022, 23, 24, 25, it's in my wallet and I enter the new tax laws. Do I pay tax? No. I'm simply holding Bitcoin. What if Bitcoin price goes up to $300,000 for one Bitcoin? Do I pay tax? No. I have incurred a capital gains, but it is unrealized. I have not sold it, so I don't pay any tax on Bitcoin. What if I stake my Bitcoin? That means I took my Bitcoin, I gave someone to trade, and the person is paying me interest. Do I pay tax? Yes. You are going to pay tax on the interest you have earned from the staked Bitcoin, not on the Bitcoin, on the interest you have made. If I sell my Bitcoin, do I pay tax? Yes. If the Bitcoin is sold at a profit, you pay that capital gains tax. If it's sold at a loss, I think you don't pay tax. In America, you can use that loss and write down your total tax. I don't know if someone can help me also on Twitter. If I make a loss on sale of stocks or Bitcoin or property, do I write off that loss to my income? I know for the companies you can, but as an individual, can I write off that loss on Bitcoin or bank trading to my personal income? Someone can help me, please. I'll love that. Can I write off losses on the personal side to my taxable income? So that's the question I'm asking. But majority, that's the answer to your question. You don't pay tax on the holdings or on the transfer because that's not a taxable event. Hope that makes sense.
All
Now,
right, thank you, sir.
you're welcome. So just go ahead and drop off so I can add a few other guys. I've got Supreme Leader.
Yeah, good evening, Kalu.
How you doing?
I'm fine. Good evening. I'm sorry I joined this space a bit late. I really don't mean to drag you back, but I would really love you to explain the personal income tax, especially when it regards to the informal sector. I mean
Mm.
the like the POS agents, the
Mm.
market women, the
It doesn't
laborers.
it doesn't matter. See, guys, again, let's just make something very, very clear, right? It doesn't matter how you categorize them. And I see lots of people say if you're POS, you pay, it doesn't matter. I think we've learned now from this space that there are just two categories. Number one, are you a business or are you a personal person? That's basically it. Are you filing? Are you filing as your individual or are you filing as a business? And business for us now is RC number, limited liability company. That's the difference. So if you're a POS agent and you are filing as an individual, your tax is going to be capped at 800,000 relief. After 800,000 per annum relief, you will now be subject to tax on any income you make, less deductions. That's if you are a POS that's run that business with your personal name. If you're in that POS as a company, then your turnover has got to be more than 50 million before you start to pay taxes. So that's a very, very simplified way to look at it.
I have a question.
A follow up, please. A
Please
follow up on
follow up.
this.
Yeah, go to your
Okay,
follow
go
up.
ahead.
Go to your follow up.
Now, how is it going to be calculated
No, there's a
for like the why I'm asking this question? Why I'm asking this question, right? Excuse me. I want to have a really solid background in case I'm explaining to someone else, like these market women around us, family members and all. How is it going to be calculated in terms of that 800,000 naira cap?
are you a tax person, finance person? Is that your background?
No,
I would
no,
advise
not
you
at all.
don't go there and explain. And I'm just being honest with you. You can do the broad explanations, but let me try to help you out, right? What the government is saying is that if you earn any income, if you're a market woman and you don't have a business, you're just selling orange. If the total amount of income you make for the whole year is below 800,000 per annum, don't worry about this tax scheme. Don't worry about anything. You will not pay any personal income tax. I didn't say VAT. VAT, you will pay VAT. You might pay some other tax. But for personal income tax, don't worry about it. You're not going to pay 800,000 naira cap. So if you divide that, what they've done, they've taken minimum wage. Minimum wage is about 70,000. If you multiply 7,000 by 12, that's where they are going to with that 800,000. That's what they were targeting. That's just the simple explanation. What if they're a small business? Maybe they own a small store, they are selling imported shoes, or they are selling food, or they're restaurants. If their turnover in that small shop is below 50 million for the entire year, they also do not need to worry about any taxes. So, what does that mean for that woman and for that shop? They have to keep records. Nigerians don't keep, and I don't make a broad statement, many folks don't keep records, right? So you've got to have your book to say, this week, this profit I made, this month, this is the profit I made. Your turnover, record everything. When the government comes to you, they give you their record, you also give them your own records. That's all. Because the government does not know more than you. Remember what I said? All they are doing is that it is the system is going to tell them, go and look at that person. But the system does not know your expenses. It only knows your income. You follow? If you're a restaurant, right, and you are paying 100 million naira a week to the bank, it will trigger Nigerian Revenue Service that this guy is paying 100 million naira a week. But they don't get that you are buying diesel for 50 million naira a day. They don't see that. Even if they see it, they're going to see it on the diesel guy. It is you on your books that will marry those two and say, yes, I earn 100 million naira revenues, but I'm paying for diesel, I'm paying for staff, I'm paying for rent, so I make 5 naira profit. You have to keep your own records. You can't say, oh, 15 million naira, oh, I'm safe. Let me go to bed. No, keep your own records. That's where we're going to with this, right? Keep your own records. Okay. Yeah.
I have a question. Sorry, let me just ask this one.
No, hold up. Let's go zero. Zero. Go ahead.
Okay.
Zero. Go ahead.
Yeah, hello. So just want to confirm you can hear me
I can
properly.
hear you. Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, so my question is about debt. Debt. Do you pay taxes on debt?
No,
Debt, like if you
no,
owe.
no. That's actually a
So
loophole. That's actually a loophole. So if you see,
yes, that's the kind of
let me
debt.
say this right. Let me just say
Okay.
it blank. So if you want to learn from it. Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, used to own 5 properties in California. And he went to the bank, he borrowed money, and he bought all 5. He can pay cash for them. He bought all 5 with loan. Why? Because he's paying interest on the loan. So he gets a tax break. Number two, it's debt. He borrowed money to buy the property, so that he can't pay tax now. It's not income. He's borrowing money to buy the property. So even though he owns the property, he's not paying tax, but he's paying interest on the debt. Same thing with life insurance. What the rich do here in America is you buy life insurance, then you
You borrow.
borrow money to the extent of a life insurance. So that income, quote unquote, you get from life insurance, it's income, but it's not income, it's a loan. So do you pay tax on the loan? No. So that when you die,
Okay.
your kids can worry about the debt, which are the different matter. But go ahead, your question.
Actually, that was the I was trying to paint that scenario that if maybe as an employee I pay my RSA
Okay.
monthly,
Mm-hmm.
I buy um my life insurance with the remaining maybe up to almost zero of my salary, then borrow on top of that. Does that kind of bring a very huge red flag on my account, being
No,
that I'm
no.
actually spending all of my money on life insurance or investments that I then borrow on top of?
I did a video on YouTube on this, and I tried to use this exact example you are seeing, where I pushed a lot of the allowances. I gave the person on YouTube a lot of allowances, and his tax was nearly zero. I took a guy that was earning 50 million naira, and he paid nearly nothing. But the tax guys came and said, no, 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 I'm giving the guy too much allowance that he's getting. But I said it's not illegal. Using the law. I use the same law and I apply for the guy because if I earn 50 million naira today, let's say I earn 50 million naira today, and I take 25 million and I put into my RSA on an
Mhm.
additional voluntary contribution, I put in in my RSA. It means my income
Okay.
is 25 million, not 50, 25 million. What if I take
Yes.
another 5 million and I buy, because I'm a rich guy, I buy life insurance for my wife and myself, 5 million, 5 million. That's under 10 million gone. So my income has gone from 50 million to 15 million. That's
Yes.
legal. That's what we call legal tax avoidance. It's in the law. It's right there in the same law that is taxing you. So someone says, no, 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 you cannot take your income from 50 to 50. What will you survive on? My wife is feeding me. My wife is feeding me, right? And
Mhm.
what if I pay? So you can you if that's what tax lawyers and tax accountants do. They give you legal loopholes to avoid paying the tax. That's what they do. But again, it's a good thing to contribute to your pension. It's good to contribute to your pension. It's good to buy life insurance. It's good to do NHIS. So all those things are actually good things to do, right? So you should go ahead and do them. That's again the point. So Zero, did you have a question or that was your call?
Yeah, I also have a different question about just cooperative because I've not actually joined the cooperative. I'm just working now. I just started. So does cooperative, because I see it on some people's payslip, does that count? Because they contribute a certain amount. Does that
Cooperative
count?
what?
You know, what do they call it? Some people every month they contribute a certain amount
Yeah,
to a
cooperative what?
cooperative, then they can
What is
borrow
it?
money.
What is it? Are they saving the money? What is it? What is
Yeah,
that?
they're saving the
You
money
don't pay tax on
basically.
savings. So guys, what I see on Twitter, people are bringing in scenarios. Oh, what if I buy a Lamborghini? Oh, what if no, 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 forget it. Those things don't matter. It's a very simple law. If you make an income, you will pay a tax. To avoid paying the tax, get a deduction. End of story. They said if you make 800,000, no tax. Company 50 million, no tax. Personal income tax, I mean. But if you earn an income, you will pay a tax. End of story. So there's nothing like no. Just ask yourself: is the contribution to your cooperative, is it an income or is it not an income? If it's not an income, don't bring it up. If it's an income, you're going to pay tax on it, less your deductions. All right, for YouTube people, geez, let me see.
Okay.
For those who fall under the tax limit, do they still need to file? Yes. The key points. Good question, EJ from YouTube. Whether you earn 1 naira or you earn 1 billion, you will still file taxes. You will still assess. So don't say, because I'm a company and I know legally, I earned 20 million, so I won't pay tax. Then you go to sleep. No. You're committing a big offense. You have to go and file. You get the tax form, you file, you list yourself, and you say, I made 20 million. You send it back to the Nigerian Revenue Service. They will say, yes, no tax, but you filed for that year. So you are not the one to say, I don't pay tax. It's the Nigerian Revenue Service to say you don't pay tax. Because you can say, I earned 100 million and I took this deduction. And I had to say, no, we don't agree with this deduction. So go and pay tax. Let me give you one thing I'm going to miss. Nobody's going to ask this question. Let me just give you something that they've said in the tax law. In the tax law, if you have any expense, let's say you are a company and you have an expense, legal expense, but that expense did not pay VAT or company income tax, you cannot claim that expense on your income relief. Let me give you a good example. You own a garment factory. That garment factory bought a generator. That generator is an expense. So when you make 100 million turnover, you will deduct generator you bought, the diesel you are using to run generator. You deduct it and say, these are my costs to run this factory. Then you pay tax. Your income less diesel is what you pay tax on, not the turnover. You pay tax on the turnover less diesel. The Nigerian tax law is saying if that generator you bought did not pay VAT and did not pay import duty when imported to Nigeria, you cannot claim that diesel. That is a legal expense as an expense. So if you simply say, oh, I made 20 million turnover, I have allowance of 15 million. So therefore, I'm not going to pay tax. You are wrong because it's the NRS to tell you that company you bought the generator from did not pay import duty tax. So you are owing tax. So you have to file. You have to file. And when you are buying large ticket items, pay attention. When you are buying large ticket items for your personal, for your business, confirm from them what's your VAT number. Put it on the invoice. Did you pay import duty? Show me. Yes, ask them for it. Yes, AJ, ask them for it because they are saying if you don't ask that, you cannot claim. That company will sell generator to you and go away. You will pay the VAT, the import duty. That's what it implies because they are saying you cannot claim it. So if you can't claim it, that means you're paying for it. So when you are buying a big ticket item, make sure as part of your risk policy, you ask the company to confirm and to prove that they have paid VAT and import duty on that large ticket item. If you are buying cars for your company, you are buying corporate cars, you're going to spend 12 billion to buy corporate cars. Whoever you are buying from has got to prove to you that they've paid import duty, they paid VAT before you make that check out. It's part of your own risk management. All right, let's go to Paul. Hasn't spoken. Paul, now you. How about that right? Paul, how you doing, Paul? Go ahead, guys. If you've spoken, just drop off so I can add more people.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kalu, for these conversations. Much has been said about my questions, especially regarding the informal sectors and the operators, where most Nigerian small businesses fall in. So, but what is left off, I want to just bring it up and ask is, if the records, if a small business, for example, a lady that owns a foodstuff superstore in an open market, and they are not literate and they do not know how to keep records. So they do not have records of the sales and expenses to accurately calculate the tax on. What is default, or what's going to happen to that business, and what's their fate in the hands of the taxman? I'm not sure if you hear me. If you heard me,
Paul, I can hear
please
you.
confirm.
Paul, I can hear you.
Okay.
I heard your question completely. And can you mute? I think you have an echo. I just if you can mute, yeah. What I see a lot on social media is people are asking the same questions, but in many ways to sort of try to get a different answer. Is so the law says ignorance of the law is no excuse. That means if you are a legal, honest trader that is doing business in Nigeria and you do not know that you're supposed to pay taxes, you will be taken to court and you'll be charged a fee because you cannot say ignorance of the law is your excuse. That's why we are holding this space. I'm not watching the game. I'm holding the space. I could be out doing stuff. This stuff I am doing, people pay me for it. You see what I'm saying? But we're doing this. No one is charging anything. This space is sponsored by Val Kenya, Experience Nairobi. The point I'm making is that you've got to learn this thing. You can't say, I will not pay, or it's wrong, or government is corrupt. That's the wrong approach. You can say that, but understand the law so you know exactly what you're going to fight against. You can't say, I'm against something you don't understand. So, any question you want to ask, I say, I don't know what she's doing, or it doesn't work. If she's informal, like I said, if she does not earn 800,000 naira per annum, she will not pay personal income tax, but she's got to keep records. So that means that if you are listening and you are into IT or banking, there's going to be an opportunity for you to launch an app. That you can launch an app in the local language of market women where every day they will key into an app their total sales for that day. That's all they will put in. How much sales did you make today? 200 naira. And that app will calculate that income and do a profit and loss balance sheet, cash flow, and tell her based on what you have put today, your total tax is X amount. Simple app. Because the app knows that if once she crosses 800,000, the app would now revert and say, have you done pension? Have you done life insurance? If you don't do that, you will pay tax. Simple app. How much do you sell on Monday? 100 naira. How much do you sell on Tuesday? 2,000 naira. Simple app. And it keeps on calculating for her till she hits 800,000. Then the app will change and say, you have now crossed the threshold to pay personal income tax. So we're going to ask you more questions. Then she can come to you and say, wait me this. Then you now charge her a fee to explain to her how she can take her taxes below. So all your apps, all these apps people are using that you are saving money with, all those apps you use, tell them they should include tax calculator for you for free in that app. So that every time you put money in, let it tell you how much taxes potentially you will pay on that deposit. Demand for it. How much is tax calculator? Yeah. So Paul, that's your answer.
Yeah, so it's more like, yeah, I completely get your answer, but it's more like what is the default? Are they going to estimate that lady's tax based on what? Are they going to do the estimate because she fails to provide a
Yeah.
record?
The,
Probably.
the tax people. Go ahead and mute. The tax people have what they call a best of judgment. So that means that they will say, well, based on what we have calculated, both by your turnover or your expenses, we're going to charge you this. Let me give you a point. BOJ is very, very high. They will give you something very, very high. You know that guy? There's this social media boy that they tax 36 million. They don't know he makes 36 million, but they are estimating that based on his income, they see him on Twitter, maybe he's driving a Mercedes Benz on Twitter. The tax man will say, okay, you're driving a Benz, you are flying on private jet, we're going to tax you 200 million. They can do that. That's their law. It is left for you to come and tell the tax guy, oh, no, wait, that Mercedes Benz was car hire. Private jet was photo shoot, I didn't fly. It's your call. You have to go defend yourself. They have the right to give you a best of judgment and say, hey, this way. So if you're a content creator, you are driving Benz. You are saying, I earn 10 million a week. It's in your song. The taxman is hearing you. Okay, so you make 10 million a week. Therefore, you make how much billions in a year? Come and pay tax. It is left for you to keep records and file. You've got to file and say, I didn't make 10 million. No, that was just a wrap. This is my real income. If you don't do that, they are right to tax you. Paul, let's go to Ramsey. Ramsey, you've got the floor. Paul, you want to drop off so I can ask people? Yeah, Ramsey, go ahead, Ramsey.
Okay, so thank you for allowing me to come up here, and my question is, so everyone having bank account in Nigeria is supposed to have this tax ID. Let's put it this way. I'm a Nigerian. I'm based in Australia, Canada, UK, America, wherever, right? And then I decide to send a huge portion of my income that's already taxed to my bank account in Nigeria.
Yeah.
What would happen in that regard?
So I think it's a great question, Ramsey, but I've addressed it many times. I'll address it again. If you have a country that has a double tax agreement with Nigeria, it helps you. So let me give an example. If you live in Kenya or you live in Nigeria and you go from Nigeria to Kenya to buy a luxury flat from Val, Kenya, you will take that, your tax, your income, your expenses from that transaction, come back to Nigeria Revenue Service and say, hey, we have Nigeria and Kenya has a double tax system. So they will marry those two tax agreements out and give you a lower net figure because we have a double tax agreement with Kenya. The country where you live in, do they have a double tax agreement with Nigeria? If the answer is yes, you are in luck. If the answer is no, then I'm sorry, you're going to have to pay the tax. But what tax are you paying? Simply bringing money from Australia to Nigeria is not a taxable transaction. Again, personal income tax, not VAT, not bank charges. Simply bringing money over is not a tax activity. Taking money from your account under account is also not a personal income tax activity. What they want are you earning interest on the account that you have put the money in? If you put money in a savings account or in a bond or in a treasury bill or in a money market that pay interest, sorry, not treasury bill, that pay interest, then you will pay tax on that, irrespective of whether you're in Australia or Nigeria. Hope that answers the question, Ramsey.
I
All
have
right,
a
thank you.
question,
I'll
please.
drop off. Yeah.
Kalu, let me just ask this one, please.
Go ahead.
So can we move our personal assets into like form a company and put everything under the company? Something like that?
That's what I've said from the day one. I said this whole tax regime should make you change your behavior. I think the very first thing I said was that if you are doing personal business, go and register a company. If you say, oh, I don't have the money to open a personal company, it's too hard for me, at least separate your transactions. So let's say you are a guy, you are doing hustle. You are hustling every day, you earn money, or you're Okada driver. You don't own the Okada, or you just hustle or ride and drive. At least have two bank accounts. Let one be your Okada business account. The other one be your personal account. So when you ride Okada, when you earn income from Okada, you pay it into
Sorry,
that
I
bank.
understand what you just said. The question here is based on the loophole. If you have a company, before you can tax, you need to have a turnover of 50 million naira. That's what I'm talking about. You know, if I have all my assets and in under a corporation, you understand, and the income, the expenditure, everything are within that 50 million, below that 50 million, and exempted for tax. Am I correct? So I'm thinking, okay, moving my entire asset, my property, my land, my rented apartment under as a form of like a real estate or something. Yes.
Assets don't pay taxes. Income
No, I
pays
know.
tax.
I know the income money comes from those assets. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, but
And if the money is being paid into a company account, and the money at the end of the year, the turnover, everything, it doesn't cost 50 million. Am I? You said it earlier that the company.
You've already answered the question now. So what are you asking me?
No, can I just move on my personal asset into a corporation then?
The law
No?
says that if your company has 50 million, some people are telling me it's 100 million. If you say 50 million turnover, you will pay no corporate income tax. That's what the law says.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let me ask you a question from YouTube. I got Gen Z Realist. How do Nigerian students pay tax? Some of us, our parents send us money for transportation, feeding. Are we going to pay a tax? Gen Z Realist, you're going to fall under the 800,000 naira cap. So if you're a student and your parents send you to university, of course, they are giving you income. That money that your parents are giving to you is income to you. It's income, but it's less than 800,000 a year, so you don't pay tax. But if you come from a rich home and your parents are sending you 1 million naira a month as upkeep as a student, then you are going to pay tax on that. It doesn't matter if you are 1 year old or 2 year old, you pay tax on income. They haven't said any age discrimination. So, but there are many ways for you to avoid the tax as a student. Many ways, even apart from the income cap. Like I said, you can do your RSC and all that, and it's good for you to do that. But overall, I think you're going to be covered under the 800,000. And even if you pay tax, realist, the gap from that 800,000 to the next tax level is very, very high. So you're not going to pay a lot of tax, even if you earn more than 800,000. So that really answers your question. Let's get accounting FI Nigeria. Hi, how you doing, sir? I got that.
Yeah, good
Accounting
Accountify
FI. Hi,
Nigeria.
how you doing? Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you for your elaborate lectures. It's very helpful. The questions are coming, just one or two contributions. For the capital gains on shares, I think it's 150, I'm not thinking, it's 150 million and 150 million disposal, 10 million naira gain. It will be subjected to capital gains. However, if in that same year you use the proceeds from that disposal to purchase another Nigerian shares, then the capital gains will be rolled over to the future. It will not be taxed immediately. Then I heard someone say something around business name, they don't allow rent. I think that would be an issue around being able to substantiate the rent rather than disallowing, because it recognizes it as a business. What the law says is that the profits, keyword, profit of a business name shall be taxed in the hands of the owner. The profit, keyword there is profit. So the expenses should be allowed. I think, however, your ability to substantiate this fact is why the tax man will push back, and if you can substantiate them, they would allow it, because you are running a legitimate business. If you don't buy, you will not sell. So you cannot disallow an expense and want to tax the income from it, but you have to substantiate it, to be
All right.
honest. I yield my mic.
Thank you for
Thank
that
you.
contribution. I appreciate that. So again, the capital gains tax. If you earn, let me put it this way: if you're able to do 150 million naira in share transactions, that means you're a big boy. And that means as a big boy or a big girl, you should have a tax accountant that will tell you this stuff. So don't come here and be so you have to have, if you are doing shares, that's nearly $1 million, you have to have an accountant. Why are you doing shares worth 400 million without an accountant? The first person you hire in your company is not your salesman, it's your accountant. If you can't afford an accountant, have one on retainer. Because if you do things without knowing the laws, you're going to be in big trouble. Yeah. So good one, Accountify Nigeria. I appreciate that. Oluwasegun Kosimani, the crypto boys are here.
Evening, sir.
Oluwasegun, how you doing? The crypto boys have landed.
My
Landed.
man.
You guys,
We got to
you guys are
land.
all afraid. The most question I've had is from crypto boys. If I sell Solana, will I pay shares? Who cares if it's Solana? If you make the income, you're going to pay the shares. You're going to pay the tax. If I hold the share and I stake, and the stake does not come to my bank, it goes to my income, will I pay tax? It doesn't matter. If it's income, you're going to pay tax. But also, I appreciate you, sir. How you doing, sir? Please go ahead. What's your question?
Um, I'm very, very fine. I mean, actually, I didn't come to ask a question. I wanted to contribute because I've been here listening for like 1 hour, and I'm really learning. I love all of your responses. I want to thank you for raising this at a very crucial time. And it's true. all of our groups on Telegram, WhatsApp is buzzing. People are complaining here and there, but it's so sad that engagement has been very, very low and unlikely. However, you are a brilliant man, and I will not come and repeat some of the things that you have said. I just want to uh, share some kind of game theory scenarios. I mean, more like a plausible equilibria of what is going to play out. So pretty much not going to have questions, but if anybody have questions, you've answered most of them. I might also help to answer. Few weeks ago, just about 2 weeks ago, I was invited by the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit. The Chief Operating Officer, Dr. Gia Mohammed, invited me on behalf of the CEO, and we were there with SEC. The only organization that wasn't there was, I think, CBN, but everybody was represented, like the FIRS, the SEC, the Office of the National Security Advisor. And this is a big deal for almost all the young people in Nigeria. So anybody that is in Kalu space now, pay attention to this information. And I step down, except you have a question, Kalu, allow me to stay. There's going to be more like a compliance equilibrium. I mean, what are the moves, right? Kalu have said it. Regulators obviously require reporting, right? So custodial platforms will definitely accept the higher compliance costs so far. And please, those of you that have not read the new tax laws and or the SEC rules on VAS and frameworks on cryptocurrency at large, better go read it, or you ask Carlo to share some of those information with you so you can tap into what I'm saying. I'm speaking from an informed angle. So you got to learn this or you get caught up. So we VASP is virtual asset service provider, will naturally accept the compliance cost because we want to keep ourselves in business. And what are we going to do? Implement robust KYC and AML. And then what will happen? We'll pass some of this cost to the users. It's going to pay off the regulators, right? Because they will get control and they will gain revenue, right? And then we gain certainty in legal kind of operation, right? And access to fiat rails, maybe access to more funding. We possibly are going to survive and even scale. But what is going to happen? There's going to be a lot of higher friction and higher fees on the users. See where I'm going? There's going to be a problem because non-custodial usage may rise for privacy-focused users. So mainstream flows will basically stay between the custodial rails and, some of the biggest money will move to non-custodial rails. So that moved me to number 2, which is capital flight to non-custodial rails. This is a big problem. And Mr. Kalu, I want you to start looking at this angle. You've done a lot of educational stuff, but one of the things I would like you to also do is begin to join us to engage these people. If you can't come to Nigeria, because I want to think that you're in diaspora, like some of us that go in and out, virtual engagement, I can set it up with some of these top players. It's very, very important that you hear some of your educative points that I'm also going to share. And this is recorded, and I would like to listen to it over again.
Okay.
There's going to be capital flights, right? Regulators will tighten fiat rates, obviously. When they tighten their fiat rates, look at where the problem is today.
I hear,
You want to say
I
something?
hear where you're going to, and I want to explain what you're saying so that people follow what you're saying. So what he's saying, he's a
Okay.
crypto guy. What he's saying is that I'm not misquoting you. I'm just making it so people can follow you. Just let me land, right? The quote unquote government has come to people like he that are doing the crypto business, and they've told them, just like in America. In America, if you go online or you buy any crypto asset, the company will automatically send that notification to the IRS. If you sell that crypto asset, they send notification to the IRS. At the end of the year, the company will issue you a report, 1099, right, that shows what you bought and what you sold. So the IRS already has it. So it's left for you to file. When you file, if you make an error, just make an error, the system will tell you, no, it's rejected because the IRS already has what you have. So what they've come to him, Oluwasegun, they said, hey, we want to do the same thing in Nigeria. That means if you buy shares or crypto in Nigeria, they're asking to do KYC. What he's saying is that the Nigerian Revenue Service is going to know who you are when you buy shares on a formal platform. When you sell, they know who you are. They know the tax you have already earned on that formal platform. So what he's saying is that many people, because they don't want to pay tax, are going to go offline or off formal structure and say, we're going to buy and sell our shares offline. So he said there will be capital flight. The thing, Sheng, is that you have to understand that how many big boys, and I mean big boys that trade, have 10 $10,000, I want to buy crypto. Why would I go offline with that and risk losing that money? I rather come to you, I know you, I come to your platform, I buy, I pay the tax, than risk going to one guy online that'll tell me, don't worry, it's off book, and I lose my 10,000. So it's all about risk. If you want to make more profit, you go offline, you do deal with one guy on WhatsApp, you buy your shares, sell your shares, you're fine. But if you don't want to risk that $10,000 that you worked hard for, you're going to come back to a formal network and buy that share. So that's really the answer to you, sir. People are going to come look at the risk and say, can I absorb the risk that I may potentially lose money to a guy that is not registered? The guys that ran away to post money, were they registered by SEC? SEC registration is not 100%, it's not a kiss from God. But if you are not SEC registered, then no one knows who you are. Tomorrow you can go to Singapore. No one knows who you are. You are gone. That's the answer to you, sir. I'm saying you gotta do the right thing. I mean, if you want to trade on WhatsApp on an unregulated app, go ahead and do it, but you absorb that risk. But going forward, that's what I'm telling you guys. This is my sector. I know this thing very well. They are laying a lot of pipelines. You see, he has come to say this is what I just said. They are laying pipelines. They are connecting everything you do with your bank, your card, your DOM, the ports, and even banks abroad. They are connecting everything. So if you are in a, they are
let me
connecting it.
bust their bubble
So if
with
you
what you just
come
said. They
and
are
you say,
connecting.
yeah, go ahead,
Let me
sir.
let me bust their bubble. Look, so I got a lot of young people in some of our groups and they're asking me questions, yada yada yada. Oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. Look, some of us are advising these government people, and I'm one of the boldest who talk about this. Do you think I'm going to, because of you $10 user, mess my business up and kill my multi-million-dollar business without reporting your issue to the government? Your minimum transaction will be reported to the government. And get this, from Telegram to WhatsApp, all that stuff that you used to post by and on Telegram and WhatsApp, it is WhatsApp itself that will expose you. First of all, there's going to be incentives for whistleblowers. So your friends and family and your hater, it is your girlfriend you argue with, now you go screenshot something on your social media, the tax regulators or the whistleblowers, and that way you're caught. Secondly, there's going to be a relationship with Meta. Meta will expose you, or Meta will flag you if you post anything against the rules of the jurisdiction that the laws don't allow you to do that. Even the technology providers, they are listening. These people are very intelligent. It was one time in the financial executive. I knew these people have intelligent people. They're going to do meetings with Apple. They're going to do meetings Microsoft. They're going to do meetings with all the gadget providers. The moment you download any open source, you are in trouble. The moment you do any transaction, it comes into your laptop. You think you can do it on Tor and all of that. The ISPs will expose you. I mean, the internet service providers will expose you. There's going to be geo mapping. You do transaction off ramp from a non-custodial wallet to a fiat rail. Boom, you're in trouble. The fiat rail will expose that transaction with geo mapping. It's going to be
I
crazy.
think
So you really, really need
they
to
get the
listen to what.
picture. They get the picture. Again, guys, I'm not for or against tax. I'm not for or against government. You know my page. I've been here forever. My job is to educate. My own personal bias, and all that. My job is to educate you guys. So whether you are for the tax, whether you're not for the tax, that's not my business. Really, I'm just here to educate you so you can change your behavior and then you can understand how these rules work. So appreciate you the show for coming in here. I think your voice is needed also here to also explain to people that listen, this is not like before. This is not like the guys that come to office and say, "Wait be your tax." Now they know your income, so they are asking you to clarify what they know. It's not like before they don't even know and they're asking you, "Hey, what did you make?" Now they know your turnover. They're not asking to clarify why that turnover is not matching with your taxes. So thank you so much for that, sir. Just to go back to YouTube. Yeah, if
Thank
you're
you, Kalu. I got to drop down and continue to listen.
I
Fantastic
appreciate
one
you, sir.
here. Keep doing it, please. I'm going to invite you to play this. So let me use this opportunity to say this to you, Kalu. We did the
I think you dropped off. I can't hear you. I think you dropped off, Sugar. I can't hear you though. I wish I could have a co-host, but I can't hear you. Yeah. All right. If he's speaking, I can't hear him. I'm
we
going to
try
speak
and
over
come
him. So
virtually. We need your knowledge at that event in December. And for everybody, please check out the Nigerian Bitcoin conference. It's happening in December. All the regulators will be there. You need to find yourself there and come and ask questions. If not, next year is going to be hot pepper. Salute. God bless you.
Send me business class return ticket. Hey, I'll meet you anywhere in the world. Yeah, no problem. So where are the ladies in Nigeria asking these questions? Because the ladies do you guys don't make money? Because when MTN sold shares, more ladies bought shares than guys, and I know lots of ladies do a lot of trans. So why you guys not asking questions? You have to ask these questions. If you don't earn an income, your husband earns an income. Do you get taxed? I need to hear more questions from the ladies. Mary, go for it. I hope that's lady Mary. Are you there? Mary, please go ahead with your question.
Okay, so it's May. It's actually short for Maiwa.
Maiwa, yeah, how you doing?
Fine, thank you. I just wanted to confirm. So, I was looking at the YouTube video that you had posted and then listening to what you said about the eligible deductions. I just wanted to clarify. So, for an income earner under like structured employment, the pension deduction that is usually applied to your salary is 8% because that's your own contribution as like the worker, while the organization does 10%. But what you have on your page, excuse me, is taking the entire 18% as a deduction. Is that what is obtainable now?
No, I said
Or
additional
is it
voluntary contribution. So what I'm assuming is that you are doing 18%. So you are doing a total of 18%. You did additional of not the 8.
oh okay.
I wasn't too
Okay,
I
so that
wasn't too I wasn't
10%.
too clear on that. What I'm trying to say in that is that I increased the additional to make it 18%.
Oh, I see. Okay, so all of this is still coming from the basic housing and transport for the employee, not the organization's contribution.
Correct. Yes. So same thing with if you look at the National Housing Fund, it has a minimum. I
Mhm.
think it's 2,000 naira. It's very very low, but I increased that exceedingly because if you pay rent, you get a deduction. But if you're trying to buy a house, there's no deduction, right? So I said, okay, because I want to buy a house, I will increase my deduction to NHF. That's why I did it that way. Because if you're already paying the rent, you get 500 naira deduction. But if you own your own home or you want to own your own home, you don't get any deduction. So I said, okay, I will compensate by doing more housing fund. Same with National Housing Scheme, National Health Insurance Scheme. If I earn more, I want better health care. So I increase my deduction. The point I was trying to make in that YouTube was that you can reduce your taxable income by buying those investments, not the actual numbers, but the principle that if you want to pay zero taxes, well, go ahead and buy investments. You see how I compared it with the past? In the past, without you doing anything, you got 20% of your payroll automatic. You also got 200,000 automatic. Now, if you don't do anything, you've lost that 1.4 or 20% and 200,000. You've lost it. You have to go do something. That means, again, listen carefully. If you are working in Nigeria today, you have to, at the minimum, contribute 20% of your paycheck as an investment to something, either pension, NHF, health insurance, or something. If not, you've lost from the old scheme. You have to understand what's going on here. They've removed the automatic and made it mandatory or you pay tax. So to maintain the same standard, you've got to go invest. Mary, is that clearer? Did I make my wife? Is that clearer?
Yes, it
Okay.
is. It is. The only other question I had is as to the so arriving at the consolidated relief that used to be, they would have you take pension off first before you now get the gross income, before you then, now calculate reliefs, which is the 20% you're speaking of, and maybe the 200,000. But now I think, are you saying they've collapsed everything? So you just have the salary and then you now start to take your deductions immediately.
Correct.
There's no
Correct.
okay.
It's been removed. They've collapsed the deductions out. So if you look at the YouTube page, I put it side by side. Many people are saying, no, this now is done. No, I use the government's own template. So there'll be no issues. It's a
Okay.
government, what you see there is a government's template. So they've removed those deductions and said when you get paid, you go ahead and insert your allowances. So you put your PFA, you put your NSIH, you put your life insurance, it will reduce your taxable income, then the tax rate then starts. Correct.
Okay, thank you very
You
much.
are very welcome. Which other lady is here? Where? So no guy will speak unless I get ladies. Oh, I'm not gonna. We're gonna get ladies in here to speak. Oh, Amarachi, what sort of tax allowance can someone have? That's lady from YouTube. Let me say it again. I'm gonna list it for you, Amarachi, real slow. Number one, pension fund, retirement savings account is a deduction. Number one, retirement savings account. Number two, national health insurance scheme is a deduction. Number three, national housing fund is a deduction. Number four, life insurance for you and your spouse is a deduction. Number five, if you pay rent, you get 20% of your rent deducted up to a cap of 500,000. Number five, if you are paying interest on a mortgage, the interest is also deductible. So I've given you 6 deductions there from the tax bill. Dr. Obi, how are you doing, sir? Obi Akamel.
Yeah, I'm doing okay, bro.
How you doing? Yeah, welcome to the party.
Yeah, me, I just look at this thing, because it seems to me that we are all forgetting the Nigerian factor in this whole discussion, when Governor Soludo took over in Anambra State, he wanted to start collecting revenue, but he started taxing everybody, including petty keke riders and bus drivers and stuff like that. And I said something then, which is what I'm going to say now. The problem is not that you want to collect revenue from these people. It's okay that you collect revenue, but in a system where we don't have a culture of doing that, an average Nigerian does not have a culture of paying taxes. Does not have. We don't. An average Nigerian sees the government as more like a colonial government. We're not attached to the government. So taking my own money from my account and giving it to the government, it is not. Only maybe salary earners who get it deducted, but individuals taking their own hard-earned money and paying to the government, it's something you do out of patriotism, and you only do that, because you see the government is using the money judiciously. But in the Nigeria system, where everybody knows that the money will end up getting stolen.
Okay, Dr. Obi, I hear your comments. I just want to, I don't know how to say that. I hear where you're going to. Let me give you my own example, sir. I lived in Lagos. What year was it? I forget the year. No one wore seatbelts in Lagos or in Nigeria. Nobody. I was shocked when I traveled abroad. People wear seatbelts. No one wore seatbelts in Nigeria. We just leave it there. No one wore seatbelts in Nigeria. Then one year they started enforcing wearing seatbelts all over Nigeria, especially in Lagos. Now go to Lagos, everybody is wearing seatbelt. Not because they want to. We wear agbada. Seatbelts and agbada do not mix. But everybody today in Lagos wears agbada. You wear seatbelt. You can't drive because they will get you and they will charge you some astronomical fee. So everybody wears seatbelt. Same with phone usage. Use your phone when you're driving. No one disturbs you. Then they stop. They say, use your phone. We're going to charge you. You park. You pay quote unquote. Right now, no one uses his phone. Use hands free or keep your phone. The point I make is whatever we say, they are going to pass this tax law. It's been passed. They are going to enforce it.
So I understand what you're saying, other than me saying that, like the examples you mentioned is different because it doesn't cost you anything to wear seatbelt, but this is literally taking money from your account and paying to the government. So the reason why I'm saying this, where I'm going with this is this: they could have started this, like what I said with that Soludo on, is that they could have started it small. Let's say we want to put our taxable percentage at 20 or 25%. We could have said for the first 5 years, we will kind of do it the way whereby people will pay like 5%, especially people in the informal sector, so that they will willingly comply. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, because enforcement, Nigerian government does not have the capacity to carry out enforcement on a grand scale. They will only do targeted enforcement, just like just like the abuse of naira, that you go everywhere in Nigeria every weekend, people are spraying money, but every once in a while we'll look for one person and scapegoat. That is what I see happening here. I don't see the Nigerian government having the capacity to carry out a massive enforcement in collecting this taxes.
Let me tell you something. You see this whole tax, and like I said, this is my field. I read everything. The bulk of the taxes are really targeted at oil companies and companies. This is four. If the tax thing is four separate bills, four. Most people were not talking about the main things in the tax bill. We're not, because that's company hydrocarbons and all that. They've done all. That's really where they are really focused. That's where they're going to get their money from. But they've got to reform. They've got to reform personal income taxes. I had an office in Lagos on Ikoyi. We pay tax on TV tax. I pay tax on parking. I pay tax on ozone layer. I pay tax on not just everything. And what they also do is a reform. You will still pay those taxes today. So whether you see it as compliance,
But the
the
rates, what I'm
difference,
saying is that the rates
the
are
rate
too
has
high, and
gone
because
down. The rate has gone down. It hasn't
no,
gone up.
25%. Okay, now I did a calculation, right? Let's say I'm selling rice in Kanu, okay? And in a year, I sold 10,000 bags of rice. I did this calculation. I sold 10,000 bags of rice, and I bought this rice on the average of 82,000 naira, and I sold them at an average of, say, 30,000, 85,000 naira. So I'm making 3,000 per bag, right? And I probably made like 30 million in profit. And I mean 30 million in profit after I paid like
Company or
820
individual?
million.
Company or individual?
No, let's say you have an LLC. Let's say you have a limited company, right? So it's a company. So I have like 30 million, which is supposed to be profit. Inside it, maybe shop rent, salaries, and stuff like that. Maybe when I do a deduction, I say have like 20 million remaining. So if the corporate tax rate is 25%, if my tax rate as somebody who made 20 million for that year is 25%. So what that means is that I'm paying how
You
much?
pay
4 point
zero.
something million
You pay 0 naira. Zero.
for a profit of 20 million.
You pay zero because its turnover is, what's your turnover?
850 million.
Okay, so then you take away that first 50 million will go away. Then you then
Mhm.
start with the corporate. But that's not how to do taxes. What are your expenses? You've got to plug in the
No,
expenses in.
maybe you are not listening to me. I say, let's say I sold 10,000 bag of rice, which I paid 820 million to buy. Okay. And I sold them for 850 million, which means 30 million is my 30 million is my profit.
Did I borrow?
Then
Did I borrow the money?
No. I mean, maybe company is giving me goods I'm selling. I'm talking about the typical Nigerian, because you
No,
guys
but
are being so elitist and you are talking about corporate people.
Doctor, I didn't want to go here because if you go here, we're not going to leave this space. What I want to do here is to talk about the taxes. I'm not being elitist. You're asking me a question about a company. I'm asking you a question too. Did that company borrow money? Because
No.
you can't give me a number and say what's my
Okay.
tax. I'll also
Okay.
give you a scenario.
Carlo.
I can make that company's tax go to zero. I can. Should I tell you how?
Carlo, I'm talking about a typical average Nigerian business trader. Okay, that is whose
Okay,
interest I'm representing here.
but that's not. I don't. We can't talk taxes like that. Is that company paying depreciation? Is that company borrowing money? Is that company doing that? You can't just say I'm making it. The tax law today is progressive. Is going after richer people. That I support the tax or don't support the tax is not the issue of this space. What I'm trying to do here is just to educate people. There are students asking me questions here. If their parents give them money, will they pay tax? That shows that the government has not communicated properly. That the student thinks that if her parents give her money, she's going to pay tax. That's what I'm doing here. This question,
Okay.
hold on,
I think
this question you're asking is actually the elitist question. You're asking about rice of 850 million naira. How many 90% of Nigerians don't have
in a
500,000
year,
naira in their
a rice
accounts?
deal, a rice dealer in your street, how many bags of rice can they sell in a year? Can they sell up to 5,000 bags?
99% of Nigerians do not have 5 million in their bank account. 99% of Nigerians do not have 5 million in their bank account. So why are we talking about 800 million naira here? So again, it's an elitist question, and this is a question that for a tax consultant that will do. I'm focused on the lady here that is telling me that her parents are giving her money. Will she pay tax? Why should she have that question if the government has communicated properly to her? How can housekeeping allowance be taxable? That's what I'm trying to address here, sir. I'm not saying your question is not valid, but I'm saying if we go that route, I know the route. If you go that route, we're not going to be here. We'll be talking about if the government has a trust debt. I'm not defending them. I am explaining the tax laws to folks that want to understand what they should do going
But
forward.
you know, Mr. Kali, you didn't even let me land my point. You just assumed you made a lot of assumption here. But let me just finish in 30 seconds. Where I'm driving at is this: that the rate, even though we want the rate to be maybe 20%, 25%, that we could have given a particular number of years where we'll be at like 5% or 7%, so that we can drag people in, so that people will willingly comply.
But
Then we'll begin to increase
let's
it.
look, the number is there. I'm looking at the numbers. Your first 800,000 is 0. Your next 2.2 is 15%. The next 2.2 is
You are talking
3%.
about in a year. You're not talking about in a
Yes,
year.
it's 15.
In
But,
a year.
but
So
Doc,
what is 2.2 when you're talking about a whole year, not a month?
Doc, 2.2 million is you're gonna pay tax of 15%. And I'm asking you a question. How many Nigerians do you know earn 2.2 million a year? How many Nigerians do you know earn 2.2 million a year? You'll be shocked at the number. How many Nigerians do you think have taken a bank loan their entire life? Less than 5%. Less than 5%,
Those
Doc.
people will not pay taxes now, so it's not
So then
for
why
them.
we
There's
talk? Then why
nothing
are
to
we bringing
worry.
them up? If they're not going to pay tax, why are we bringing them up? That's the point I'm making. I'm not focused on those folks. I'm focused on the folks that are saying their parents' allowance is going to be taxable. That's where I'm focused on. This question you're asking is valid, but it's not for this. It's not. It's not. It's an elitist question, like you said.
Carlo, I'm talking about the one that concerns me because
Okay,
I have a
but it's a
business in
different
Nigeria.
space. I'm going to have a space, and I'm going to charge people that will come and
Okay.
ask me this question, and they'll pay me money. I'll give them advice. But I want to
Okay, no
focus on
problem.
yes, sir. And I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just trying to say I want to. There's a very very narrow focus. This is my time. I'm taking. I'm to talk to people and say, hey, this is what you should do. And that's what I'm trying to do here. This question is it's a more should we say technical question that needs more answer. I have to ask more questions and all that. I get the point you're making about the government and all that. I've said it before. There's a trust deficit, but that's not a strategy. We can't say, oh, it's a trust deficit. We're not going to get prepared for next year. It's going to happen. So let's understand the tax laws and then see what we can do about it. I'm not, I know how to avoid taxes. That's a knowledge I have, but I'm trying to tell people how to change behavior. That's what I'm trying to teach here. That's what I'm trying to do. Let's get Tom. Tom lives on. Tom, how
Hi.
you doing, sir?
Yeah, hi. Thank you. Yeah, I'm very good, Mr. Kalu. It's a pleasure to be on this space. So I'm just going to keep it short. I'm just interested in sales commission. You know, you work with a company and you paid your sales commission aside your salary. How does the new tax
What
laws
is the
affect?
same? I'm gonna label all these questions the same. I'm gonna label these questions as what if questions. It's the same thing, Tom. Tom, it's a very simple law. Very simple law. Any income, any income,
Okay.
whatever name you call it, any income. If you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and that boyfriend or girlfriend gives you a gift, it's a gift income. No. So you don't pay tax on the
No, yeah.
gift. But if that boyfriend says, I'm going to pay you because you helped me fix my fridge, that's income. So you pay tax on that
Yes.
income. Sales, commission, dividends, crypto, staking, whatever name you want to call it, if it's income, you're going to pay tax on it. Does that help?
Yeah, that helps. That helps a lot. That's all I just wanted to
Pro,
confirm.
great. Pro Sage, pro underscore sage, pro sage, gem underscore matrix 209. So
Good
how you
evening.
doing? How you doing? Yeah,
Good evening.
thanks for the link you sent to me. So
Okay.
just to confirm, so we're saying that the threshold for the small for business is not 50, but it's 100 million. Just to confirm what you're saying.
Yes. That's what I read this
Okay.
afternoon.
I know I saw 50 million somewhere. So has it been changed? If it's been changed, that's fantastic. But I want to make sure I'm quoting correctly. I saw it in the link you sent to me that the small companies are defined as companies that earn 100 million. So does that mean that if I make turnover, because I know that turnover was 50 million. No, I did read it somewhere. So are you saying let's leave it alone? What's your question, sir? Go ahead.
My question is basically turnover. I don't understand what they mean by turnover. If it's let's say revenue minus cost or revenue in its total form. That's
Turnover for me, because the government used the word turnover. Turnover to me means revenue. without deductions. That's what to me it means. But I'm not the government. I'm sure they'll clarify that later. But turnover to me means what you turned over, i.e., the revenue. So you brought in, you imported goods, then you sold it. So you turned those goods over. That figure to me is what I mean by turnover. But again, I'm not speaking for them. I'm sure they'll do a clarification later on. But that's what turnover means. What you turned over. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I think.
You're
I think.
welcome. If you're a lady and you want to speak, just let me know. I'll take it from like Gospel RX. Gospel, how you doing?
Yeah, very well. Thank you very much, Carlo. Nice that you're doing this again. I know you did it some time ago. So straight to it. There's been the rumor around anything that comes into your account is taxable after at the end of the day. Then I also heard you, if I didn't miss what you said, when you said if your parents, you're a student, your parents sent you any money above 800,000 naira in the year, that is taxable. Is that an income? Is
No.
that an income?
So again, let's not try to. We're doing literature in the tax class, and that's why I'm missing it in Nigeria. What they've said is simple: income is taxable. Whether your mother gave it to you, whether your girlfriend gave it to you, if it's income, it's taxable. End of story. Money coming to your account is not income. It's transfer or it's deposit. It's not income. If Dangote gives me 1 billion, amen, it's not income to me. It's come to my account. Dangote says, Kalu, I'm going to send you 1 billion. Give it to Mr. Godwin. So 1 billion comes to my account. It goes to Mr. Godwin. Is it income to me? No. So I won't pay income tax on that. I'll pay bank charges. I'll pay VAT, but I won't pay income. But I have to make sure I write somewhere that, oh, Dangote sent money to me. That's why I'm transferring it out. So when a taxman say we saw 1 billion in your account, I say, oh no, it's for Dangote to pay for something. So it's not income. But if Dangote pays me 10 naira income, I pay tax on 10 naira. So we are trying to use English to define tax. It doesn't work that way. If you get income, you pay. End of story. If it's not income, you don't pay. If you get income and the income is more than 800,000 per annum, you will pay personal income tax if you don't take deductions. If you're a company, I'm hearing it's 50, I'm hearing it's 100, I can swear I saw 50 million naira. I'll stick with 50 million naira till for now, you will pay tax. End of story. It's very simple. Yeah, very, very simple.
Okay.
Gospel,
Thank
right?
you.
Very
Thank you.
simple. Yep. So
All
back
right.
to
So sorry, just quickly, just on the line of what you just said before I quickly run off. So there is nothing around, I'm going from the point you made around if somebody sends you XYZ amount, as far as it's not proven there is an income, you don't pay a tax on it. So there's nothing around, say for example, I do not own a physical shop, for example, but I sell stuff. So, okay, somebody gives me a product from their shop, I sell, they pay into my account. At the end of the day, let's say I can even get a turnover of, let's say, 30 million naira in that account, 40 million naira in that account, 50 million naira in that account.
I hear you. I
Yeah,
see this.
how
I
does
said
the taxman know if what has gone through, let's say, let me just say 50 million has gone through that account? How does
yeah.
the taxman know, oh, this is an income at the end of the day, or this is just money that comes to my account that could be for all this what the gifts to me?
Okay.
And I mean, how does the taxing work around that? I know you are. Thank you.
Yeah, you know, right? So again, let me just take my time to answer this, right? Look at it this way. The taxman does not know anything. He only knows money that has gone to a bank. Bank transfer is not tax. What the taxman has is lots of information. He doesn't see your balance. He doesn't see your income and your balance sheet. He just sees information. The taxman sees that you received money. There's a guy I saw, I met here. What this guy does is he buys goods from China and he's in America. He buys goods from China, then he sends from China to Nigeria. Look at what he does. He has an account, so he has like an Amazon page. He'll put the goods like generator. Then Americans, Nigerians in America here will go to his page, right, and say, I want this generator. Deliver it to this woman in Enugu. Then the guy will receive Zelle from the woman in America here. So let's move it to Nigeria. If that guy was in Nigeria, his account would be receiving deposits from people that want to buy goods like like Jumia to be receiving deposits. All those deposits in his account, are they taxable? The taxman does not know. He just knows these are deposits coming in, but it has recorded them. Okay, you got 1 billion deposits. It will file it away. He then files he then files taxes, and he says he's going to pay tax of 50,000 naira. But he got deposits of 1 billion. The taxman is not going to go to his account and take any money because he doesn't know if it's taxes or inflow. He doesn't know. You are not, tax do not happen in your bank account. Nobody's going to go to your bank account and take taxes. Doesn't work that way. You have to file an assessment, then you pay. They don't go to your account and take. This is not VAT. This is personal income tax. You have to file. So let's go back to our example. The man has received inflow of 1 billion, but he filed tax of 50,000 naira. It doesn't make any sense, Abi. So the taxman will say, we don't agree with you. You got 1 billion turnover. We're going to tax you 300 million. What does the guy do? The guy has to go back to to tax and say, all this inflow I got here were monies from Kalu, Ronald, and Ronke. They were money that they used to buy generator. The generator came in, I paid VAT, I paid the port duty, I sold that generator at a loss, and I made a loss. That's why I only filed 50,000 naira. That taxman will say, okay, you are good, go and sin no more. He will not pay any tax. But why do that? Why wait for taxman to come? If he had put it on his business account, have all his records, then you file and you put all that. The taxman will say, oh, okay, we see what happened. You imported a generator, but at a loss. So instead of making a profit of 1.5 billion, you made a loss of 50,000. End of story. So if they go to your account, it's wrong. Nobody, it's one of the biggest things I've known on social media. The taxman is not going to go to your account and take your money. Doesn't work that way. You've got to file assessment. The only time they will do that is if you don't pay taxes. If they've given you a tax bill, year one, you don't pay, year two, you don't pay, the taxman can go to court and say, we want to go to this man's account and garnish it and take the money. Then the court will say, yeah, go ahead and take it. Then they will come to your, the same way IRS does. If you don't pay IRS, they will come to your store, sell everything, take the money and go away because they have a court order. But they will not come, IRS will not come to bank account and say, hey, you haven't paid taxes, boom, they take your money. Hope that makes sense. Does that make sense to you? That clarifies it, right?
It does. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. This
So
is a very good point. But just the final point, the one you talked around filing, an individual filing, you said the guy have to file a tax report, or
you
as
have
the
to
case may
file your
be. Can
taxes.
you?
You file your taxes every year. You file tax every year, every quarter. You have to file taxes. That's one thing Nigerians don't do.
Individual.
Yes, Nigerians have to file taxes. Yes. So we're going to learn it very soon. And again, if you are the government person listening, it is appalling that we're, and every question here is valid and I applaud it. Please, I'm not talking to you. But that in September, we are asking if we're going to file taxes. That's a big communication failure from the government of Nigeria. If you have to pay influencers, if you have to do a campaign, go and start to do it. People don't understand this tax thing at all. At all. You are spending your time abusing people on social media when you should be selling this tax policy. Mr. Oloyede, if you are listening, you've got to sell this tax thing. People don't understand it. Nobody's paying to do this. You've got to go out and sell this. If you see the questions I'm seeing it's crazy. Will my mother, if my mother sends me money for school fees, will I pay tax on school fees? How can you even ask that question? I'm not saying you, not us. I'm saying, why is it that she's asking that question? Because she feels the government, she doesn't understand what's going on. She's a student. All right, Ben, how are you? Ben.
I'm fine. I'm fine. Thank you, Kalu.
Ben,
I'm fine. Thank you.
clarify something for me. I don't understand what you shared. Is the tax rate, the company cap, is it 50 million naira turnover or is it 100 million naira turnover?
It's 50 million. It's
Why?
50
So
million.
what's
Why there's a confusion? Why there's a confusion is because as at the time before the bills were officially gazetted, there were conversations that were going around on two key issues. One was if it should be 50 or it should be 100. The president himself was pushing for 100. but there were still a lot of deliberations there. And then there was also the 30% versus 25% when you pass the threshold. So what the president was able to win was the power to use an executive order to reduce 30% to 25%. But as for the threshold for non-tax for CIT, it's 50 million. And also people forget to 250 million in assets. If you have not reached that gross turnover, that I have to also point that out. It's gross turnover, not just turnover, because I'm quoting directly from the bill, directly. So if you have not reached that turnover and your assets are more than 250 million, you are not under that threshold of zero CIT. But most of the time it's almost impossible for you to have assets more than 250 million.
So that's a key point. So again, it's back to our question. If you are a company buying rice, selling rice, and you make a turnover of 49 million, you will not pay any corporate income tax.
Yes, you will not. Okay. You will not, yeah.
What's your question, Ben? Do you have a question?
Actually, I came to clarify that, but my second clarification, there's also a question there, would be on this. He said something about if your parents are paying you an allowance or your husband is paying you an allowance, is that income? I don't think it's income,
It's not.
I don't think it's income.
It's not. I
was clear. So you're not going to be taxed on that. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, just like the point we're making that we're trying to use English to avoid taxes. You don't use English and avoid taxes. You use deductions, allowances, and change of spending behavior to avoid taxes. Calling allowance income doesn't change anything. Is it income? If your mother gives you 500 naira to you, is that income? It is.
No, did you deliver a service to your mom? You did not deliver a service.
Why is it not income? Tell me why.
You did not deliver a good. That's what I'm saying. It's not income because you did not deliver a good service.
I hear you. So
you did not deliver anything of value to your mom. If your mom said, Kalu, if your mom said, wash my car for me and I will pay you 500, then it's income. But if you're in school and your mom is like, oh, I don't want my son to starve, I have to send him 50K monthly or 100K monthly, that is not income.
What if my I hear you. What if my girlfriend sends me 1 million? Is that income to me?
That's a gift. If it's a one-time thing, it's just a gift.
No. Except so why is the mom giving the kid not a gift?
Why it's not a gift? Because if it's a regular thing, like if they're sending you regularly, a one-time thing can always be classified as a gift, especially when it's between family members.
My girlfriend gives me 1 million regularly every month. Is that income?
You have to be able to prove that you're not delivering something of value to your girlfriend.
I'm not asking you. The point look at what I'm going to. This thing is going to get people confused. If your mom gives you money, they haven't said it's not income. They have to say it's not income for us to say it is not income. They haven't said if you provide a service or not provide. They haven't said that clarification. If my girlfriend gives me 1 million naira every month, is that income?
They don't need to. They need to tell us for us to understand.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Both of us that are financial, experts. For you to call something income, you have to have delivered a service.
No, but that's you. That's what you are saying. That's what you are saying. Again, and that's what I'm trying to clarify with you.
I agree with you. They need to tell us. They need to explain. They need to do better communication.
Because in America, if you give if you give a gift, you pay the tax. But that's America. But they've said it. We haven't said it on our own end. If you say the mom gives her daughter money, it's not income. So therefore, the girlfriend giving me money is also not income. Therefore, that means in my company, I can give all my employees gifts, not income, and not pay tax. That's the slippery slope.
No, you can't do that. You can't
Why
do that.
not?
You can't do that.
Why not?
Let me explain. First of all, it's regular, so it's not a gift. Second of all, they are your employees.
Okay, I don't give them
it's
regular.
Almost impossible.
Okay, then I don't employ them.
It's almost impossible for you to claim in anywhere in court, even with the lacuna that we discovered. It's almost impossible for you to claim.
Ben, I'm surprised you're saying this. Onwa boy in Igbo land is a big employment generator. Those boys don't have employment contract. They are paid irregularly. Are they getting income?
Yes, because they're working, especially if it's from their
Why
their
is it
okay.
income?
Because they're working for him. They are under
Working
apprenticeship
what?
and they're
Well,
going to be paid.
how do you know they're employed? How do you know they're employed?
Come on,
Then the
Kalu.
point
There's
I'm
a
making
verbal
with you, sir,
contract.
the point I'm making is that you
There's a
can't,
verbal contract. There's a verbal
but you
contract. There's an
can't say this
understanding.
without
People
having
people
something to
know.
back you up. That's why I'm trying to correct you. You can't say that this is this without having. All I'm saying today is from the tax law. So no one can hold me and say Kalu said. I'm not arguing
If
that a
you're
daughter will not. I'm not saying that if your mom gives you money, I know what you're saying, but be very
Mhm.
careful to tell people that if a parent gives a child money, or Tedala gave his daughter a Ferrari, what do we call that?
he can call that a gift.
Why?
He can call that a gift.
Okay, what if he
He
gave
has
her?
to be able to argue it. Again, you have to be able to argue and
Okay,
make the
all
point
right, no
that it's
problem.
a gift.
But do you have a
Yeah,
question
it's
for
between
Ben?
you and the taxman.
I think the point
That's
is,
why it's good to have a good tax person on your side.
I hear
Because
you.
if you don't, so if you don't have a good tax person on your side, the government can say it's not a gift. These are things that are very arguable.
Yeah, I
These
think
are things that
the
are very
point I'm making
arguable.
is that it's just that make sure that you know what you're doing, like you said, have a tax man,
Mm.
and be very careful you don't assume. This thing you've said about mother daughter is not in law. It has to be in law before we can say it. So for now, like I told the lady,
You're
below
correct, yeah. You're
below
correct.
800,000 you don't pay tax. Whether it's a gift, whether it's a law, gifts are separate things entirely. If you give a gift of 1 billion, you don't pay tax on that. It's a gift, it's an inheritance. Gift, inheritance and I don't think we even talk about gifts in Nigerian law. With they said inheritance, I don't know if I saw gift, but maybe I'm wrong. So Ben, yeah, appreciate that clarification there. Thank you so much. Olumide, hi.
Yeah, thank you,
Olumide, what's
Khan.
going on, Olumide? Thanks for helping me.
Yeah, Carl, good evening. I wanted to talk in, but I was on transit. Very interesting conversation, and
Yeah.
I'm happy I'm happy you brought that out. It's been very tough, particularly for us that are in the media space, and it seems to be apolitical because we understand how sensitive and unpopular it is to look at the pros and try to make people understand.
Yeah.
And you know what of the economy is. But I want you to, I'm going to ask questions and I want to make some clarity, because, I heard your last conversation with Ben, and I think that's even technical. I think it's that bad because people don't even understand what it is mean to be taxable. People don't even understand that you don't tax revenue, you tax the net income. People don't understand the difference between a business and a non an association. People don't understand the difference between a student and someone that is employed, and people don't understand that the objective of the personal calculator. So for me, I'm not a tax accountant. I'm looking at things from uh, basic finance view, and I'm looking at it that okay, what was the poor? I look at the former tax income bracket, and what was the poor getting? Direct. I'm talking about pay direct tax. I look at what the middle class was getting, and I figured out that the middle class were paying more because they were captured, and the rich had a lot of benefits. The rich had special benefits, particularly the capital gain tax, and they could move around their offshores, withholding and things like that. But that has seemed to be the loophole seemed to have been tightened, and I saw that they kind of widened the poverty for the lowest income. They kind of widened the range, which about one third of people that work in the formal sector. Then I also figured out that they were focused more on the informal sector, right? People that work remotely, people that work that have businesses that are unregistered. They wanted to use the PVN, the NIN, and other tools to capture these things. So what makes people a lot scared is that when you hear things like, I'm so happy you mentioned it because it's very debatable on Twitter. When you hear somebody saying every penny on your bank account will be taxed, you begin to wonder where that imagination comes from. Yes, indirect tax, you are exposed to indirect tax because if your money is in interest yield, you pay as a form of tax. And if you look at the investment rules that you brought in, I was so excited you brought about that. Many Nigerians don't invest up to 150, don't have a turnover of 150 million naira a year. In fact, I can tell you for free because I have access to data on CSCS. most people invest less than 5 million naira per annum. So we're not expecting to see capital gain, the populace paying such. So people like Dangote are much worried on withholding tax, they're much worried on capital gain. So you could see where we need to talk about. And I think where we should focus on as the people is, okay, because where I see a lot of people making sense is that they're saying the tax, if you look at revenue just in the first half of this year alone, the FRS have gotten about 10 trillion naira. And people are asking, what is this money used for? That makes more sense than we saying that, we looking at the fact that, oh, the merits of the fact that, okay, we really need to expand, we really need to expand our net to capture, because we need to push in, getting more revenue, because when we pay more taxes, we get revenue and things like that.
I think Olumide and all the folks on this, I think the biggest shock that is going to come in January is that when Nigerians find out that they have to file personal income taxes. There's a guy asking me on Twitter here that, do if your company pays tax for you, because when I was in Nigeria, right, when you file, I don't think let me not cast myself. Companies normally file tax for people.
Yes, on your behalf,
The
yeah.
company file tax for
Yeah.
you. But the way they are going now, you have to file your own taxes. The way they are, like, the same way Americans do.
I
Because
don't think so, Kalu.
okay, so if I
You know
so let
why?
me question for you: if I buy life insurance, how will my company know?
Okay, so this is what, okay, good, good, good. So this is what it depends. Like what I figured out is that for people that are working directly, like if you work in the bank, you work in a legal establishment, yeah, these things are done calculated, and you can always update. For example, if you get life insurance, you can work with your accounting team. For
So
example,
you have
when
to
I
file
wanted to pick
yourself,
my
Olumide.
pension fund,
You have to file yourself.
no, I understand. No, but you can. Yes, you can. The company's accountant can be aware, can be made
So
aware.
let's
Yes,
be real,
those,
Olumide.
those,
It's fine.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
those
The
precautions are
company's
made.
accountant can be made aware.
okay, that's
Exactly.
fine. But
Exactly.
Ben
Yes,
is here.
the
Okay,
company's accountant can be made
let's
aware. And Kalu, let me explain something that people need to understand. The personal income tax, in most times, is not for the federal government. It's for the state. Because you also need to understand that, for example, in the LRS, if you look at LRS rules, you can't compare it most times with Ogun State, or you can't compare with, despite the fact it looks general.
okay.
So
But I have a
what people
question.
need to understand,
I have a question for
okay.
you. You are here. Ben is here. A few tax guys are here, also on Twitter. If the government says I'm going to pay tax less deductions, so normally the bank, because in the past you get a 20% tax break on your payroll. That's why the companies filed for us. Because when you get paid, if you get paid 1 million, the company will simply deduct 20% automatic. Then the company will also add 20% automatic. Then say this is your paper, because it's automatic from your payroll. Remember that when you buy RSA, that's a different tax that you pay. I don't know how you, that's a different allowance. What they are saying now, they removed that 20% payroll. That means that if I work for, say, let's say I work for Zenith, and I get paid, and I want to reduce my tax burden, I'm going to buy life insurance for myself and for my wife. Are you saying that every Zenith worker will have to write to Zenith HR and say, I bought life insurance, add this life insurance to my tax thing you're calculating? Is that what you're saying? Every company that pays tax for every individual will have to now communicate to their HR. I bought life insurance, I bought NHF, I bought RSA, I've done additional bunch of contributions. Is that what you're saying?
Kalu, yes, to an extent, if your HR department of the company you work in are basically the ones filing your taxes for you, and you've purchased the insurance, outside their
That's not gonna
purchased
work.
insurance that they are not aware of, you would
That's not
just,
gonna
it is
work.
easier for you to just
That's not
inform
gonna
them and let
that's not
them
gonna
know that
work.
this is what you're
That
doing.
that's not gonna work. You and I know that's not gonna work. I think what's gonna
Or
happen.
or or option two, after they pay you from your own income, you file your own taxes in addition to
Exactly.
that.
So that's where I'm
Simple.
going. Ben, that's
Simple.
what's going to happen. What they are taking us to is the American style, where you will file your own taxes. That's where we're going to. There is no way your company is going to know you bought life insurance. There is no way. No way. Think about it.
No. There's
When
a
it's a
way.
big,
If the company brings a life insurance program to their staffs and
why would I
asks them
buy
to
what
opt
my
in,
company is giving to me? What? No,
you
Ben, that's
understand? Sometimes they do that. They do that. All
yes,
these
but that's
HMO
not the
things and all
question.
that.
Don't get particular. Like, forget
Hmm.
Zen. Zen is a big company. I have a company. I have a printing press, and I pay my workers. I want to do that. Then the printing press employee gets my salary, so he files taxes to my salary. Then he goes to buy insurance. How would I know that that guy has bought insurance? I wouldn't know. And even if I knew, I'm not filing his insurance for him every month. I don't have that manpower. So this is a question that the organs at the top of tax have to tell us, because what I see is going to happen. You've got to go, if they're going to go to the basic level next year. They're going to say, if you don't have any deductibles, the company will file for you. But if you have a deductible, you have to go file for yourself, because that's the only way. That means that big, and again, people are going to get,
I agree.
that's where the big explosion will happen, because you're going to see a guy that was earning 50 million. And in the past tax, once he earns 50 million, he gets 50 multiplied by 20% deduction automatic. He gets that automatic without doing anything. So he doesn't have to bother now, because do the calculation, Ben. What's 20% of 50 million? What's 10% is 5.
That should be about
10.
10
So
million.
when he earned
That should be
50
about 10 million.
million, he gets 10%, 10 million automatic deducted from it as relief. Automatic. Now they've said that 10 million is on hold. To get that same 10 million, he has got to go and buy something. Pension, NHIS, NPF, rent, to make that 10 million. That's going to be the big explosion. Because people are going to be like, what
Yeah.
the F is going on here? Why am I paying
Yeah.
10 million plus taxes? That's what's going to happen next year. And it's, well, you will be here. Olumide has dropped off. Oh, hey, Chris.
It will be interesting. It will be
Yeah,
very interesting.
Chris, let me get Chris. Go ahead, Chris. You got the floor.
Yeah, thank you, Kalu. It's my first time speaking on your space. So, hello everybody. Um, I am not I'm not your candidate for anything tax, economics, and all of that. I'm just a bloody tech person. But so please forgive me where I fail to use the right
No
terms,
problem,
right?
sir.
Okay. So I actually questioned for the mic when you asked the question to someone like, how about I have staff in my company and I say what I give to them at the end of the month were all gifts.
Yeah.
And he said something like, oh no, it's in the regularity. And that does not make sense to me because when he said that, I was like, hold up a minute. I sent money to my mom. I sent $400 every month, for instance, to my mom for her upkeep and for her hospital bills. It's regular, right? So, how does that apply in that situation where I get to send something to my mom every month
Good.
and it's regular?
So
You get my
yeah,
question?
Chris, it's going to be the paperwork you send, because what's going to happen is this: if your mom has a personal account and she's getting regular inflows from America, they're going to file that as income. It is for your mom to file and you to file. So when you send it from America or from wherever you are, you put welfare payment for mom's medical, or welfare, or gift to my mom. Love you, mom. You have to put out the narration. When it comes to Nigeria, they see the bank will see narration, gift to mom. Your mom will then take it, and when she's filing, your mom will file all that transfer that came into her account and say gift from my son. Because in Nigeria, we don't have gift like America has gift tax. We don't do that. So your mom has got to file and then claim 0% tax. That this money, although it is income, it is not income. Not income I made. It's my son is giving me a gift. If it's below 800,000, she's fine. If it's above 800,000, it triggers the tax element. She has to defend that extra and say, this is not income. I'm 85, I'm not working, blah, 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 blah. That's why my son is sending me money. These things have not
Okay.
been clarified in the tax law. Remember, there's no tax law that is complete. America today is still doing tax reform till today. These questions we're asking will be clarified going forward. But for now, because it's a real question. You see, it's a real question. many people, many Americans, remittance in Nigeria is $25 billion. Remittances, they're all social remittances, not FDI. 25 billion flows to Nigeria from people abroad, just like you. So what the government is saying is that this $25 billion, if you don't tag it properly, they will tax it. I didn't say so. That's what the law is saying. So if you want to target from America, when you send money from America, from UK, you have to target properly. Gifts to mom, medical bills for mom, so and so to mom. If not, give to my brother to buy this. If you don't tag it like that, and when your brother gets that money, he's got to file as well. This, because somebody is saying HR of staff will record every tax file. How will the HR know that I got money from Chris in Canada? How will the HR know? Will I go and tell HR, Chris, send me money, don't tax it? It's not possible. So what's going to happen in Nigeria is this: you are going to have to file your own taxes. That process of company filing for you, unless you don't want to claim deductions, is going to die. What I see going to happen. Because in the past, the
Yeah.
companies filed for you because you were getting 20% of payroll, and your company was the one managing the payroll. Now they've removed that. If they remove that, that means there's no more payroll deduction. So you have got to file yourself to make sure you can claim that Chris sent me money. It's not income, oh. It's not income, oh. It's welfare. Abi Chris.
Yeah. And just to add, I look, there's no better time to start, right? So, but I feel like um we are setting ourselves up for failure. I mean, the people and even the government, right?
Oh my gosh.
I see huge confusion coming ahead. And look, you said something like, or you said it, not even like, you said they're trying to copy the American
Yeah.
system,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, I can literally sit at home here and file my own tax.
We're going to go there. It's going to create jobs.
Yeah,
I
but
think it's going to create a lot of jobs. All these IT boys. There's a guy that shared with me his tax app after I think it was 2 space ago. Perfect. You just put in your income, it will calculate your taxes according to his new tax law. If that guy can share the game with me, I'll share. It was very, very well done. You just put in the income you make, you to ask you if you do pension, to calculate everything for you. That's the future in Nigeria. Taxes in America are an industry on their own. It's coming to Nigeria. Because all these things we're saying, you see now, you see I and Ben were arguing over if gift is taxable. We're arguing because it's not written in paper. So IRS people will hear us now and say, okay, let's clarify what gift is. They'll say gift is this. Once they say that, then you see a loophole coming in. Because if you don't do these clarifications, you are going to tax people that what has not been taxed before. That's what's going to happen in January. It's not the bank account people are looking at, but it's you send money to your mom. They say, you got 1 million. They've got a tax of 20%. Then she'll freak out, and then you're going to see it on Twitter. And the government's job is to come out now and clarify that and say this is what's going to happen.
exactly.
If you don't clarify it, the freak out will come from even your own people. It's your own people that will freak out because when you send money to someone's account, they won't tax that account. But when they will give her best of judgment to pay 1 million tax, you see the freak out. But Chris,
Yeah.
yeah,
So just to round
yeah.
up, you just nailed it. Like people are gonna freak out, and if the government don't come out to educate their people through the National Orientation Agency or any other relevant agency, I might
Do
continue to
you see
think
my
that look,
my
there's
evil
something.
laugh? Do you hear my evil laugh?
I yeah, you are evil. We know you are evil.
Sorry,
So
let me
if
say
if
this.
they
Let me
con
say
if
this. Right now,
hold on, let me finish.
there's some
Ben,
videos online. Dele
let me
has
just land.
made some videos online. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I land with this that I mean the government should also invest a lot in the public education. Otherwise, people like me, people like the pepper seller and the market who don't understand, she will probably continue to think that there is something sinister about government silence, right? Thank you, Candy, for the mic.
Thank you, Ben. Ben, what were you saying? What were you clarifying, real quick?
No, I just wanted to let people know that right now there's some videos online on YouTube. Just go to YouTube and search
I
Tabuye
know.
Dele. He
I
has been on
don't.
numerous platforms explaining a lot
What's
of
his name?
things.
What's his name? What's his
But
name? What's his name?
Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, Taiwo is the chairman of the
He hasn't
Presidential
explained
Fiscal
this for what
Reforms
I'm
and
asking
Tax
now.
Force.
I've watched
I
all the
agree with you. The more
videos.
work needs to be done.
Taiwo is doing
Yeah.
an outstanding job, but Taiwo it can't break through. Taiwo is the guy at the top. You need to break through.
It needs to come on the micro level.
No, he is fine. What he's doing is fine. He's talking to the CEOs. That's fine. When Obamacare was being passed, they were going to the influencers and all that to get the word out. You've got to come to the base level and get the word out. Again, like I said, there's going to be a freak out when people find out that they've got to file their own taxes, claim allowances. Many people don't know this. What I see most of the influencers on Twitter doing is all wrong. They are saying I'm going to
Yeah,
tax
they
your
are
bank
actually
account.
pushing
Your bank
misinformation.
account is wrong. They will not tax your bank account. They are saying that you're going to reduce your taxes. It's wrong. Your taxes will not automatically go down. You've got to go do something. Let me explain again. Listen carefully. In the past, whatever you do, your company gives you 20% tax break on your payroll. That's why your company was paying your taxes. Once you are employed and you get a payroll, you get 20% tax relief on that payroll plus 200,000 naira. Today, if they pass this tax law in 2026, that is gone. So you are going to your whole payroll is now exposed to taxes. You have to go invest to protect that payroll from taxes. So when you hear someone come on Twitter and say, no, if you earn below 800,000, you will not get an allowance. Okay, after that, Uncle, if you don't do anything, it will be exposed to taxes. This tax is a verb. It's a verb. You've got to go do something to get a tax allowance. If you sit down, your company cannot know if you bought life insurance or done RSC. I'm just saying. Let's get the story. Drill the story behind. Yeah, the story behind. Hey, how you doing? Story behind. Please go ahead. The story behind your hand is up. Go ahead, sir. Let's get Bill Gates. Bill Gates, how you doing?
Good evening, Kalu. Thank you for the space. Really
Thank you,
interesting.
sir.
Not to take up too much time, but I have a quick question. So I'm not sure if I'm fully understanding what is being implemented here, but basically Nigeria has a large informal economy, right, where people earn an income and don't pay taxes. So if they're pulled into the tax net, will that have an inflationary effect on people's wages? But then at the same time, I think, there's a lot of unemployment. Employees don't have the bargaining power. So essentially what I'm trying to make sense of is, what does this mean for people's incomes? Because there's a lot of people that don't have high incomes. I feel like there's so many. Okay, so I think I'll just break it down. So I think there's my first point is, what is the economic ramifications of this? And the second is, what impact will this have on people's quality of living, right? Because my understanding is that Nigeria is quite a low wage economy. People
Mm,
on low wages being brought into taxation,
mm.
they bring people into poverty. So what is the economic implication of this?
So look at it this way, right? Taxes are not in isolation. Taxes are supposed to go when we have a circular economy. If I pay 100 naira in taxes, my income goes down. My disposable income goes down. So 100 naira has left my disposable income to the government. Good. When the government gets my 100 naira, if they take my 100 naira and they fix my road or provide a doctor at the hospital, then even though my disposable income has gone down, my cost of living also goes down because I pay less for car repair, I pay less for drugs in the market, I pay less for water, for security. So it balances out. The problem in Nigeria is that when you pay tax, you do not see a corresponding and reoccurring investment in social services. So if you go to, and I don't want to hit Lagos, so please don't get mad with me. Lagos State is the largest economy in not just Nigeria, in West Africa. Lagos State has the highest taxes in West Africa and Africa. Some parts of Lagos do not look like they belong to a mega city. Just visually, they don't. And it's a struggle for Lagos to finance the whole of the city with the tax that they make. But people that are going to ask a question, I'm already paying taxes in Lagos. Does Lagos look like a place that is taking my taxes and investing it? It is the same across the board in Nigeria. If you go to many states' capitals, you don't see the effect of all that IGR that is being claimed. If you pull up IGR in Nigeria, you see states that have the most IGR. You see Lagos, you see Delta, you see Rivers, Abuja. Go to those states. Do they look like states that are getting IGR in those states? That's the problem. It's not the taxes per se, it's the flow through of those taxes to social services that is missing. So in Nigeria, where you then have a society where we don't see taxes flow to social services, you're going to have this point you are bringing up that we're going to get disposable income going down, but cost of living going up. And that's where you're going to have the potential freakouts. You know, in Monaco pays no taxes, right? But it looks so nice. How do you think they finance the place looking so nice? They are paying somehow, not income tax, but they are paying with the high cost of the hotels and all that. That's how they keep Monaco looking so clean. Look at France. They had the revolution over taxes centuries ago, and they pay high taxes today. Europe is high taxes. That's why you have free medical care because they have high taxes. Nigeria is going to high taxes, but can a Nigerian say how many things that they get for free from the government? Even student loan. I went to university in Nigeria. I stayed in university for 5 years in Nigeria. My total tuition was 500 naira. My total accommodation was 500 naira in Nigeria, not too far long ago. Now they are doing students' loan. The government is selling students' loan as an achievement when it's getting oil money. Why must students get a loan to go to university in an oil economy? But the government gets to buy private jets, senators get to buy new SUVs, but the students are going to pay a loan to get educated. Education is an investment, not a cost. But that's where we are, and that's where this issue of taxes is a problem because people don't trust the government with their money. If you introduce tax in America, people will argue. Americans, Republicans will say no, but in America, every single day, look outside the window, the yellow bus will pick up kids to school. You go to ER, they will treat you for free. ER, they will treat you for free. You call 911, police will come. This is America, whether it's a Republican, whether it's a Democrat. In Nigeria, we're doing East-West Road with taxes. A new president came, we stopped East-West Road, and we're doing a new East-West Road, which we've called the Coastal Road. That's the problem. That's the big problem.
Thank you for that. And this on my question about the. So I'm still kind of struggling with what you're saying because you seem to be saying on one end that I completely understand the logic, right? But it relies on the assumption that governments will act responsibly with the tax revenues
I
and
don't
use
know.
that
I mean,
revenue.
we don't know. I'm agreeing with you that it creates a concern, and I think if by 2026, let's look at it this way: President Tinubu removed fuel subsidy. I supported it because I know this is what I do. That fuel subsidy was killing the Nigerian economy. So I said remove the fuel subsidy, take the money and invest in roads, in whatever, so Nigerians sort of get productivity going. They haven't done that. I posted on Twitter just on Thursday that the mistake I think the Tinubu president made was when he removed fuel subsidy, the money that came in, it wasn't ring fenced, it wasn't highlighted, it wasn't identified. If you go to fact, they just tell you we've made 2 trillion, which is double what we made last year from fact. That money is coming from fuel subsidy removal. Why not identify that money, tag it, and say Abia State is getting 100 million naira because of subsidy removal? So that people in Abia State will say, hey, Governor Oti, you got 100 million naira extra from subsidy removal. What have you done with it? Say this money is going to go for infrastructure, but we haven't done that. It's been opaque. The Nigerian National Assembly has an opaque budget. So if people see all these things, they don't trust the government with these new taxes. If the government in 2026 announces that the tax revenues in Nigeria have gone up by 100%, and our roads are still the way they are, by 2027, nobody will pay tax and they will say, call police. That's what I'm saying. You've got to show working. So now people are saying, we're going to give you benefit of the doubt. But they haven't, even the benefit that they given in the past, they haven't done anything with it.
Very
So the
helpful.
government,
Sorry,
taxes, taxes allow you to hold your government to account. One reason why there is so much corruption at the local government level that local government don't pay taxes. So the local government guy, they don't think that the taxes, they don't look at that the money comes from Abuja is their money. There is no linkage. The guy in our half-year local government area does not look at the chairman of our half-year local government area as enjoying that car and house from his own pocket. They think it's Abuja money. They don't link their taxes to Abuja. This new tax law is going to link everyone's income to Abuja. So when I pay 20% tax from my income, so I earn 1 million, I pay 20%, 20,000 to the government. Then I see a local government guy taking his family to London. Maybe I'll talk up. Maybe I'll speak up this time. So let's
Yeah,
see.
thank you. And
Yeah,
sorry,
let's see.
just the final
Real quick.
aspect of my question. Like, I completely understand where you're coming from. What I'm really trying to understand is, okay, you said that the subsidy removal has not led to a tangible increase in governments driving productivity. If that assumption is true, what can we expect in terms of people's living standards in the next year, that ordinary Nigerians' living standards? And also, what can we expect in terms of wages? Are we going to should we reasonably expect wages to increase and for employees to bargain with their employers to increase their wages? Does the ordinary Nigerian have that bargaining power?
I mean, you're asking very, very. I mean, we hope that the economy will get better. Nigeria's economy is based on crude oil price, and also the way we spend. I don't want to get political. No, between you and I, the economy has got serious headwinds. Serious headwinds. Inflation is a serious headwind. Insecurity is a serious headwind. We're not exporting enough. The currency is too expensive. Those are all serious headwinds. We've got to fix those. This tax helps with the economy, with revenues, reduces borrowing. And if we do it right and we start to invest, probably things will get better. It's all if, and future. We don't, I can't say what they will do. Mr. Tinubu has not been very, very, he has not scored well in my books on how he spends public money. Let's put it that way. He hasn't scored well on my books. He spends too much. He doesn't have control over his key folks that are in charge of spending. They spend too much on things that are not important, and don't spend enough on things that are important. They're not driving the economy in the right places. Let me put it that way. And that's what we're seeing where we are. But I don't want to go there. Let's just focus more on this tax thing. So, pretty Chris, yeah, let's go to. So, if you've spoken, right, see if you can drop down so I can add a few guys. I really just can't keep pace. One Yagbani, you've got the floor. One, please comment. So just yeah, thanks. I appreciate you. One Yagbani, please hop in real quick. One Yagbani from Enugu. Yeah, you're online.
All right.
Okay, let's get. Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
All right. All right. No problem. Let me call you back. Hi, Kalu.
How you doing?
I'm fine. Good evening. I've raised my hands for long here because I.
No vex, no vex, no vex. I'm sending you no vex. Find me one good. I'll pay.
I'll
Sorry.
I'll
Yeah.
find you one huge tax. Don't worry.
Thank you, man.
So I
Sorry. Yeah.
actually thought to come up when somebody came up to ask about the sales commission, right? So there's something ongoing right now. I don't know if you know, but LIRS, that's Lagos Internal Revenue Service.
Yeah.
They are consistently taxing workers here, like corporate workers, right? They tax on gross salary, and I don't know if that person knows, but they also tax on incentive. I don't know if you're aware, Kalu.
They tax everything. Even if if you own a car, if your company gives you a car or a company house, that's income. They're going to tax everything. It's
Yeah,
not
but
just getting cash.
a lot of people do not know that tax is
True.
taxed on incentive and commissions. So
True.
I'm surprised when I say incentives are taxed in Lagos. They think I'm just joking or it's just talks. But my question is, right, since the federal government wants to tax everybody in the country, does this mean that if you live in a state like Lagos and you are being taxed on your salary, does it mean that Lagos state government will tax you and the FIRS will still tax you and also tax your incentive commissions?
No. Pay is state tax. So when you get income tax is state. Corporate is federal. So that's how it's going to happen. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm really not, I've never really taken interest in tax, honestly, because I never liked it, right? I like to negotiate on net basis.
We will learn economics together.
But when you say payee, when you say income tax and corporate tax,
pay as you earn. Just say pay as you earn. Just say personal income tax is state, corporate is federal. Just it's simple that way.
So when you say
If you
corporate
pay,
tax, Sorry, when you say corporate
Yes,
tax,
limited liability. If a company pays a tax, that goes to the federal government.
so it means that the federal government will not tax you as an employee of a particular company or anything, right?
If I own Kalu Limited and I pay Kalu Limited staff salary, Kalu Limited staff will pay the salary tax, the payroll tax goes to the state. Kalu Limited's profit tax will go to the federal.
Okay, that answers it. Then it means I'm not paying tax to the federal government, just the state government.
Correct. Your payroll tax goes to the state. The company income tax goes to the federal.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Just wanted to sort that out.
Fantastic. Glad you're able to get that clarification. Aku, let's get Akunwa. Again, I'm defaulting to the female speakers because they've been underreported, and I know I wanted them to get this information. So, Aku, you've got the floor. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Carla. Good evening. I
Good
just
evening. How you
wanted
doing?
to, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. I just wanted to contribute regarding filing for yourself as an individual, even though your company has filed for you. What I
Yeah,
see here trying to be applied at the federal level is already the Lagos template. I sent you some screenshots of what
I
my
got,
LIRS
I got it.
platform looks like. So as an individual, if you're working in Lagos, you're also expected to file individually, even though your employer has filed for you. So when you're filing individually, there are different information required from you. I think someone asked a question about contributions to National Housing Fund that your employer might not be, aware of. So when you're filing individually, that is where it comes, into play. They ask you for other sources of your income, also like other sources of, I think, your NHF contributions. They add it as a relief, and also the National Housing Insurance Scheme contribution as well. So all of that adds up to your personal income tax returns for Lagos State. So
Yeah,
if a corporate employee in Lagos State, is expected that you should also be filing your personal returns. I personally have been doing it since like 2021. So I just wanted to
yeah.
put
Aku,
that out there.
just I know I'm looking for it. Would you send me a DM? I know I saw. Was it on the space or DM?
No, I sent the screenshots to your DM.
Okay, good. What she's saying is that listen, she's basically making this point. Just listen to what she's saying. You would have to file your taxes personally. That's what she's trying to emphasize. In this new law, there is no more payroll 20%. That means that for you to claim that deduction, you've got to go file. Lagos State already does that, right? Lagos State has Lagos Inland Revenue Service. You file to them. You have to file. If your company will take your filing, that's fine. But as long as you can tell your company you did pension, you did life insurance, blah, 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 that's what you want to do. So that's the point she's making, right?
Yeah, so your company files for you. Then when you're filing for your own individual, your annual returns personally, because they have a space for employer filing, then they
Yeah,
also have a place for your individual filing just to bring in some
your
relief.
taxes.
Yeah, your taxes, some relief that maybe your employer is not aware of. Or
I'm
maybe
not sure how I can say this. Yeah.
other trade income, that's where you report it, your commission. So people that have other sources of income, apart from their salaries, they're supposed to, report that when filing personally. Then they have the
Yeah.
gratuities, foreign income. And when it comes to reliefs, I think there's a place for your rent as well. So your rental
Actually,
expenses for the year.
if you could post that again with this explanation, I'll retweet it. Just I want people to understand and I think we're not getting this thing that from next year you have to buy the deductions. It's not automatic. You have to go buy the deductions. Buy means you invest in RSA, Provident Fund, and all that. If you don't do it, you're going to pay full taxes.
Okay, so I'm
That's it.
posting it to the comment
Yeah,
section.
if you
Yeah,
post it, post to the comment section. If you copy me and I'll retweet it again. Yeah, fantastic.
I'll
Let
just
me
do
get
that now.
Amarachi B. Amarachi B. You've got the floor. Amarachi, go for it. Thank you so much, Aku. I
Okay.
appreciate that. Amarachi, how you doing?
Yeah, good evening. So my confusion still, though I have like two questions I need to ask. My confusion is still based on that the threshold for the small companies, of
Uh-huh.
which I checked. Yeah, I checked Mr. Ben's page, and I think he made a repost of Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, which the repost was talking about that small companies threshold is 100 million and 250 assets, right? And then there's also a picture Mr. Ben sent. I would have asked him if he was still here, but he's not here again.
Yeah.
He made a picture post of which he was talking about 50 million. So we are still confused on between
Yeah,
100 million,
honestly,
50 million.
I saw 50 million turnover, and I've read this so many times. I think it's 50 million. I think the 150 is talking about the definition of what a small company is. I think that 20 million is talking about if they are saying that the company would pay 50 million, will not pay tax if their turnover is 50 million. But they then went and defined what that company is. They said a small company is a company that has 100 million naira turnover. But what I know I read was 50 million naira turnover will not pay tax, i.e., company. That's what I read. So I would
Yeah,
default to that till if anybody has a screenshot that is different, please share. But even if it's different, 50, 100, I don't know. I just know I read 50. I'm ready to be corrected, and I can share that also on the screen.
because yeah, before now I've been seeing 100 million, and I'm actually surprised I'm seeing 50 million. Anyway, there have just been more confusions because even on uh my class group chat,
Yeah,
we've argued on 50 million, 100 million, and there was no
yeah,
conclusion
yeah.
because everybody's bringing up their own evidence. And yeah, so yeah, the second question I want to ask is on the someone give an example. Say you have a share with an Nvidia or Tesla, and you get your profits, right? Dividend, or maybe as the company market cap is going up. The share price is going up. The dividend you are paying, right?
Mhm.
You are going to be taxed on American like on their own system. So now if you now withdraw the money now in your account, you'll still be taxed like will Nigerian government still tax you?
It depends. If let me ask Grok. Grok, does America and Nigeria have double tax arrangement? The answer is this: if we both have a double taxation agreement, you will not be taxed, or your taxes will be sort of like ameliorated because of that agreement. If we don't have a double tax agreement in America, yes, you will pay tax in America if you did, and then you also pay tax in America based on your dividend income. Yes, you would pay those two. That's a direct income that you've earned. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So what of the the share price? If the share price keeps going up,
It doesn't
right?
matter.
And
If there's no tax on that, because that's just an unrealized gain. So you bought a share at $1, it goes to $100. You've earned 99 dollars, right? But it's an unrealized gain. You haven't sold it, so you just hold it. You don't pay tax. That's what Warren Buffett does.
yeah,
He
no,
doesn't sell. He
yeah.
doesn't, yeah.
I'm talking of when you sell.
Then you pay the capital. You pay the capital gains tax, subject to if that sale was has a cap of 150 million naira. So if you made 50 million naira profit capital gains, you won't pay because it's not more than 150 million. It has to breach 150 million naira for you to then pay that capital gains, not income, capital gains tax. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, because because okay. And now the last question. Yes, is it possible for one person to own like 2 to 3
Yeah.
limited company?
Yeah. Of course.
It's possible.
Of course,
Okay. Okay. Thank
I actually know
you.
when I first started this space, I recommended that if you own real estate companies, you can set up a company to own the building. So that way, all
Mm.
the cost of that building goes to the company. The company can then take allowances on that building. So when you get your rent, you pay the rent to the company account. When you fix the plumbing, you pay the land use act. You also charge it to the building. So you get each building would have its own P&L, and then you just pay the taxes on the company. That's what I also
Mm.
recommend. Yeah, you can do that as well. You can have as many as you want. No problem.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
That works.
Thank you. Yeah.
Perfect. Let's get Ben. I think I've answered the question. Don't worry about that. Teke.
Okay, it's 50 million. It's 50
Oh,
million.
50 million. You confirm 50 million. Okay, perfect. And let me add you just here because I got you. So I'll just send you that invite, Ben, like you based on what you said. Okay, Teke, you've got the floor. Teke.
Hi, Kalu. Good evening. Good evening, or I guess good afternoon. Since you dropped out too.
I'm in Nigeria. I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well done. Yeah. So I definitely missed the early sections of what you're talking about real estate, and that's actually what I grabbed the mic for.
Gotcha.
Um, the issue with the new income revenue Nigeria, Lagos State is seeing with the dirty December, where people are going to be taking advantage of that economic activity, but are poorly structured right now. And I think a lot of people are going to be shocked come 2026, with the whole dirty December craze and the real estate that goes into it. Because a lot of people right now are finally evicting tenants that have not paid about 5 years from their parents' house, investing hundreds of millions to get those evicted tenants out and get that property ready for that economic activity.
Mm.
And everybody's doing it wrongly, and they'll be in for a big shock come 2026. At this point,
Take take
I'm
what's the question on this? Where are you going to?
where I'm going on with this is I know you're a consultant. Are you structured to give advice on that
What's the question?
whole enterprise? The number First things first is that can you talk more? Can you expand more on the real estate part? Because, for example, okay, this is a scenario. I form a company in Delta State, or I form a company in Ogun State. The property that company is managing, or the properties that company is managing, is in Lagos State. I get revenue from that property. Where am I filing my taxes? How am I doing that? How am
You
I?
file in the state the property is located in.
You file in the state the property is located in.
Where
Okay,
no, sorry, the state. So the company that owns the property, where is it incorporated?
is in Ogun State.
So you file in Ogun State, the way you incorporated the
Ah,
company.
okay,
You can file
gotcha.
anyway. You can, so essentially you incorporated in Ogun State, right? So yeah.
Yes,
But yeah,
but the property that is being managed and bringing
no,
in revenue is in Lagos
hold on.
State.
I'm giving you wrong advice. The company is owned by a business or by the person who owns the company. Sorry, who owns the building? Company or individual?
We have structured it to be a company.
So the companies doesn't matter where you are located. They're going to file federal. You're going to file federal. Nigerian Revenue Service. You're going to pay to the federal, not the state.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. All right. I think
Yeah.
that gives me the direction I am looking for. Doesn't answer
Perfect.
all my questions, but gives me the direction I should be focusing on. All right.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Perfect. So you file that to the federal. Federal is company. State is personal. If your building is owned by you in a state and you receive income from that building to your bank account, then you are paying income, personal income to the state of residence. If your building is owned by the corporate, then you receive rent, then the corporate is paying income tax based on rental income to the federal government. Right?
Right.
Perfect. All right, okay.
Okay. That does not shield you from any other state liabilities you may hold, regardless of what you pay.
We're only talking income taxes. We're not talking about VAT, levies, dues. We're not talking about the environmental levies. We're not talking about that. We're talking about just personal income taxes. We don't to keep a very, very narrow focus. Yeah.
Got it. All right. Cool. Cool.
All right. So
Thanks.
I've got a YouTube question here. Bola, I don't know what it's asking. If I get money from abroad for a contract, the Upwork, I receive that money on my app, transfer the money to my savings app, and then transfer to my bank account. Will the pay be taxed? Yes, it will be taxed. Doesn't matter where you transfer it to. You got income. If you like transfer it to 20 places, you will pay a tax. So what you want to ask yourself is that with the country paying you and Nigeria, do they have a double tax agreement? If they do, try to find out how you can perhaps reduce that tax. When you pay tax there, you're going to pay tax in Nigeria. But yes, that is pure income. You're going to pay tax on that. Let's get Bros Ike to speak, please.
All right, Kalu, good evening,
Hi, man.
everybody. All right. So, actually, some years ago, like that's like when I left my 9 to 5, I started my company, and I actually have a friend who's a very senior lawyer. So we were actually having lunch, and I mentioned to him that I was in the process of getting someone to do my tax. And he was like, you don't really need to speak to the accountant anymore. I mean, that he has lawyers in the office that can do my tax for me. And I said, oh, okay, fine. So now with this thing happening, who do companies go to? Can they still go to lawyers, or do they need to go to an accountant if they need to do their tax, or do they basically choose any of the two experts,
I mean,
to help them do the taxes?
it's anyone that has the knowledge, right? Because you're going to file, like in America, they have online TurboTax, they have tax advisors, CPAs, they have accountants. Same in Nigeria, you have accounting firms that can file your taxes. You have accountants in court. You have lawyers. It's whoever you believe can give you that service because you are filing under your name. So whatever you can afford, this is going to be a big opportunity for folks that know taxes and accounting. Big opportunity for them. Now, I asked on Twitter yesterday, not jokingly, but seriously, if you trained in taxation and accounting, by now you should have your own private company set up that you're going to offer consulting services on weekends and even when you get back from home. We now have, you can open an online account. People can go in and ask you a question and you pay them per hour. You charge money per hour and you advise people you don't have to file their taxes. But people have questions and they can ask you and you can charge. So if you've not done that, what really are you doing in Nigeria? What are you doing? You have BSE tax or you have ICANN and you're working for a company. It doesn't matter. Go set up your own company online. Two questions. If you want to leave completely and do your own tax advisory, good. It's a big opportunity for those tax and finance people. I advise students, if you are listening, all the students on YouTube listening that have been very, very good, you belong to accountancy class. Every year, you guys have an accountancy class per year. That whole class, get all your super brains, get them, put them in the brain trust, get marketers, organize a lecture, use the university hall or go to a hall in town, pay for the hall, and go to the market and say, we're organizing how to understand tax reform 2026. Go to the market, people will come. Even if you charge 5K, that's big money to a student, but it's nothing to a worker. They will come and listen. And that's how you make revenue. Because you know this thing even better than I. You're reading the tax law yourself, you understand what's going on. You can not to give advice, but most of these questions you can answer them. How do I file my taxes? Oh, you do it this way, this way, this way. You can do a template. You can make a lot of money as a student. You can don't wait and say, oh, it's like graduate. Lots of IT folks now, if you do anything tax on an app, you will make a lot of money. That is very simple. Like I told you, the law says that you do not pay tax till you cross 800,000. How does a market woman in mile 12 know this? Because she's still going to be charged a tax. She's just not going to pay. She's going to be assessed, I mean, but she will not pay. So, what if I have a simple app on her phone? Every day, she will type in the total sales she made. That's all I need from her. Today, 1,000, tomorrow, 950, tomorrow, 300. Once that app records total income above 800, bam, it will change. It will say, hey, madam, in Yoruba or Igala or Igbo, madam, you are going to pay tax, so come and see us in our office. Let's tell you how to avoid the taxes. Then she will come as a second line of revenue for you that you can then give advice to that woman on how to perhaps structure this or structure that to avoid taxes. And this thing can be done tomorrow. It's not impossible to do this thing I just said now. So it's a big opportunity for people that know are in this field. And you've got to sort of say, okay, can I do this? And that's how you want to basically get around it. So whoever pays your tax, whoever can file for you can file for you. I give you advice. But like we said, it's going to go to a system where you're going to file yourself to get the tax breaks. So because you're going to file yourself, you can then ask advice. Hey, am I doing this right? Am I getting anything? They'll say, yes, you are fine. I'll bill you 100 naira. I mean, if you do tax for 10 people a day and you are charging 10K per day, that's 100 grand or so. Just say yes, no, yes, no. Right. Right. Boss.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a quick last one. Just like everybody, if you look at my name, you know I'm an Igbo man. I have cousins who actually do buying and selling in Nigeria, and it's not like they are that well educated. They have the basic education. So what are their options? How do they get this information? Where do they go to? Because they probably don't have friends like we do that are lawyers, that are accountants.
Bros
So
Ike.
what?
Bros Ike.
Yeah.
Question for you. Who is the second goalkeeper in Arsenal?
I don't know. I don't watch football.
But do you think your friends would know the second goalkeeper in Arsenal? Do you think they would know?
Yes, yes,
How
yes.
did they know?
Actually, they watch soccer. Me, I don't watch soccer.
There you go. So money is more important than soccer. I tell you that if they want to know, they would know. There's lot. If you go
Mm,
online, Twitter, ask if tax, you would know these things. But what we're doing is to try to give more clarity on them. I think Nigerians don't like to pay for advice. That's going to change. If you want to get advice, you've got to pay
true,
and get good
true.
advice. I mean, not like that's what I'm thinking. To students are cheaper. OND accounting. Nobody knows accounting more than OND, HND accounting boys. Nobody knows accounting more than those guys. And it's practical accounting. They will come to your shop. They will say, oh, cost of goods. They will do everything for you, give you a paper-based balance sheet that you can use. That's what you need to go and find. All these guys that are doing trades on single entry is going to change. You can't do single entry accounting with this new tax law because you've got to get your allowances out. You can't say profit, sales, profit, sales. No, the allowances have to come in so you can get your. And I want people to see that two guys can make money and one guy is taxed less because he has paperwork. They will all run to the tax accountant. But it has to change, man. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. All right, let's get to Pro Croft. I've got Prime Croft. Prime Croft, thanks for hanging on so much with us. IK, thank you so much. Pro Croft, are you there? Pro Croft. Let's get Miriam. Miriam Mohammed.
Carlos,
Miriam Mohammed. Pro, you're there? Okay, Pro, go ahead. Sorry if I pronounced the name wrong, but yeah.
yeah, good
So go
evening.
ahead.
Thank you so much for actually organizing this piece and what you've been doing thus far. I'm happy for the sensation you are bringing to the general masses as a whole. This whole thing seems to the common man. But nevertheless, I think about 2 months ago when this whole thing dropped into the. Can you hear me? Hello.
I can hear you.
Okay, very good. So about 2 months ago when this whole thing actually dropped into the media space generally, I've been making research on tax cut and avoidance pass. Let me put it that way. And you made mention of some means to avoid all these things. Not actually 100%, probably like 60 to 80% there, but just to have a cut on what a federal government can take from my money. Apparently, I operate in CFD space. I trade for a living, crypto, forex trading, and stuff like that. And I don't know, you didn't make mention of having a foundation or even a charity organization, which I presume from research can be taxed, and that's one. And Amarachi earlier made mention of
That's wrong,
having
bro. That's
different
wrong.
LLC.
That's wrong, bro. That's wrong. So just be clear, right? If you have a
If
charity,
charity organization are offering services, what do you say?
if you have a charity, the income that charity, the contributions, donations that they receive are tax free. But the question I want to ask you
Really?
is
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
if that charity organization goes and sets up a business enterprise, is the income taxable?
No, they don't have any business enterprise. They don't have any business enterprise that is giving them returns that could be taxed. But
So
any giving to them cannot be taxed, right?
So any donations, contributions is not taxed, correct?
Yeah. Okay, now setting up different LLC. Can I actually have a charity organization or even a foundation that some of my proceedings or returns from all this LLC can be directed to charity and be used for different things based on
No,
what I see fit?
you LLC is not a charity. You do a contribution to a charity. You have an LLC that makes money and then you
Yeah,
contribute to charity. If you contribute to charity, yeah, you reduce your taxable
exactly.
income. So what's the question?
Good. Thank you. That's exactly what I understand.
But let me add this: you cannot use in Nigeria here, in America they call it the 501c3. You cannot use in Nigeria here the incorporated trustee entity to avoid taxes. Like Kalu said, you just have to contribute, but you can't use that entity to avoid taxes.
If not, everybody will open up a charity that will own a bank. Then the bank won't pay taxes. So it's not going to work.
Actually, I've been
that
wrapping
way,
my
yeah?
head around how
Exactly,
exactly,
Kalu,
because
exactly.
Yeah. So the way to do it is just to calculate your taxes
generally,
and pay. Try to reduce
yeah,
your.
definitely I will pay
The
taxes.
key
Even
thing is
my corporate
reduce.
firm will pay taxes. But I'm having some sort of reduction, just a tiny reduction. If no,
All right.
like I said earlier, 80 or 60% reduction compared to what I'll probably pay
All right.
as a whole.
I wish you the best. Just get some
Actually
advice. I
wondering
wish you the best on that. Yeah.
if this is legal. What do you say?
I don't know about legal or illegal. I'm just an accounting guy. So what I'm just trying to say is that income is going to be taxable. Just be careful about assuming that non-taxable foundations mean they don't pay tax. They are assessed for taxes. They are going to be assessed for taxes. Then they will now get a tax write-off. You can't have a non-profit doing business and claiming zero taxes. It's not going to work that way. Yeah, just keep that in mind.
No, the
All right,
method
I gotta go. Yeah, let's go to
actually,
Mariam. Okay. Sorry, I'm not. Your audio is not that good. That's why I'm struggling to hear you a bit. Let me get Mariam in here. Prophet, send me a DM. I'll answer you. Mariam Ibrahim, hi. Mariam.
Okay, thank you so much. I actually stumbled on this live and I'm like, I have a thing or two to say.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm not sure, but I believe that you've interacted with people outside, or let me say governments outside of Nigeria. I'm curious to know, it seems that the morale of everybody here is high. Looking at tax morale and government spend, it doesn't correlate. There's a trust issue actually, and most people do not actually want to pay tax in Nigeria, and rightfully so, because we're not seeing the dividends or whatever. So, how can Nigerians, because tax in itself is not bad. So, my question is, how can Nigerians actually hold the government accountable? I don't know if you can answer that question. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't want to go into politics, but I just think that this tax thing might even, if I can use that word, it can even make the populace should we say, more interested in politics. There are many Nigerians that do not care who is president, who is governor, who is local government chairman, because they don't pay tax. They just buy a generator, they buy SUV, they do borehole, they travel for summer, so they don't care. If you guys are suffering, I'm insulated because they don't pay tax. So what's going to happen from 2026? That there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be shocked when they start to pay taxes. And those people are quote unquote big boys that have a voice, not Twitter, but have a voice. So when they go abroad, like I went to a party in America and I saw, let me be very specific. It was a university. I went to university in Nigeria, and I don't want to call in the UK, Newcastle. There was a guy there that was going around giving people pounds, was giving students pounds because his daughter was in that school. Was a government guy. I was there, and he was giving them pounds, like hey, and all that. So I was a Nigerian, and that's my tax money the guy was giving a government guy. If that happens now, you'll be very surprised. People will challenge him. Where is he getting his money from? Where's money coming from? Because now they are paying taxes. They're going to be very, very interested where that tax money is going to. That's one thing I see, or I hope, will happen. And many people that are not interested, that they just feel it's Nigeria, no, I don't care, will not be very interested because they are going to see their companies get hit with huge taxes, legal taxes. So, and it's when you put such light on the government, that's when they perform. Have you noticed that in Nigeria, the governors that are under pressure, that are under spotlight, tend to start to perform. When they're about to impeach them or they are fighting court battle, they start to work. They will fix this rule. They are everywhere. But once, if you look at the ones that are very, very comfortable, that don't worry about losing, they don't care. They'll tell you, if you like, if I sell the state to somebody, it's not your business. If I do this, no, they are very arrogant because they don't care. They're going to lose. That's why one party rule is very, very, it's a big issue in Nigeria. Imagine if you have one party, no opposition. I don't care who the party is, though. I'm just saying, if you don't have people holding the government to account, they will do everything. They will just do nonsense. This tax thing that they are passing that we're even talking about, they wouldn't even care. They'll just pass one tax thing and then say, if you don't implement, they'll shoot you or something like that. So the citizens have got to come out and say, we want to hold you to account. Like I mean, the example of the subsidy. Subsidy has been removed. That's a huge revenue increase to the government. We don't know where the money is going to because the government hasn't telling us how much they're making from subsidy. When we had PTF, Petroleum Trust Fund, that was subsidy removal. Abacha did it. Abacha created a fund and put someone in charge, and we could tell this is where the PTF money has gone to. You could see PTF routes. Same with Shopee. That was a subsidy removal. We still removed subsidy. We got Shopee. You could tell where the money was going to. This one, we removed 100% of subsidy. There is no fund. There is no accounting. There is no record of where the money is going to. I know the money is going to FARC. But you have to show the people the money so people can say, okay, this state got this money and this is what they use it for. If you don't do it that way, people will not trust the government. People are saying, we remove subsidy, what have you done with it? And you are still moving more taxes. That's why there's a problem. There's no trust. And you earn trust. You don't demand trust, you earn trust. So, Miriam, I agree with you completely, but they've got to do more than just saying, trust us. They've got to show workings. We're 24 months into the government. Can you drive from your state to another state without any pothole by 10 p.m.? You don't have to answer, but that's the question. Can you take your baby water for you? Can you take water from the public tap and feed your baby? Can you go to the bank and get a loan at single-digit interest rate? We're an oil economy, so if these are all no, then you want to ask yourself, what will the taxes do? If subsidy didn't increase revenue and didn't increase governments, then what will subsidy do? So again, I don't want to get into that argument, but I hear your question. It's very valid. It's a trust thing. Let's just hope that. I know hope is not a strategy, but let's see what will happen going forward, Miriam. Is that the only comment you
All right,
had?
thank you very much.
You're welcome. Omo Olu, or is it Omo Ologo? Hi.
Thank you, Kalu, for bringing me up. I was thinking that you'd not bring me up because we used to.
Why won't I
I'm the
bring
one
you
that
up?
brought you up. I'm the one that
Oh,
brought
okay.
you up.
Now I understand. So Kalu, maybe Kalu would not have brought me up. Anyway,
Why won't I bring you up? Why?
because you now defend the president. Anyway,
Why?
let's go.
What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong. If you have a question in taxes, ask. We'll learn. On Twitter, I don't do that one. If you want to
Okay.
request, I give you
Let's.
mic.
So thank you so much for the opportunity. Good afternoon to everybody. First, we have to also put it in proper perspective where people need to understand your PIT especially, which is what touches people directly. That's the personal income taxes. Personal income taxes are what is taken from your salary. Maybe you're a worker in the company, all of those things. So those kind of information should be passed across. And where does majority of that money go to? The PIT specifically, where does it go to? It goes straight to your state and local government. 85% of it, if I'm correct, goes straight to your state and local government. Hence, people should call out their state and local government authorities because most of the things that people need that is closest to them can be provided by these folks that are very close to them, local government, state government. But if you tell people now, they will tell you, why are you doing this now? Why didn't you tell me this one during Jonathan's time and all of that? But now we are telling you what the constitution is saying. This is the right way. Ask question about how your PIT is being spent in your state and your local government. That way you can get accountability for how and trust can be built. But if you don't ask questions, if you dash them, let me use that word, if you dash them your PIT, then you now come back and begin to ask president, how is my tax being spent? Your president doesn't take control of majority of your PIT. So those are we need to put it in all of those proper perspective. How is the PIT being spent? Who takes PIT? Who takes CIT? Who takes VAT? And all of those taxes. That is how you can build trust. That's because if you have that understanding, then you can now begin to ask questions appropriately. You will not be asking the wrong person that you didn't give the money to. So that's what I just came up to say. Thank you so much.
And I agree with you. So they get in Nigeria, like I said earlier, local governments get away with murder in Nigeria because no one even goes to them. Nobody even knows that they exist. So a lot of waste, fraud, abuse happens in local government, and no one even talks about it. No one. States, different matter. Some states are focused on, some states are giving a pass mark, but everybody's on federal. Because I'll tell you why everybody's on federal. Nigeria, on a tax level, is a unitary state, not a federal state, unitary state. What do I mean? The tax laws we're talking about, the PIT laws, these rates are set by the federal, if you can see that, by the federal, but collected by the state, right? VAT is supposed to be a state law. The rates are set by the federal, collected by the federal, and shared to the states across board, not by derivation. It shouldn't be so. A federal republic should allow all states tax what they want, collect what they want, and retain what they tax. You cannot share VAT. It doesn't make any sense in this world to share VAT. Lagos State can't build a port, collect tax from the port, then you share to Abia. Makes no sense. Let everyone go and do VAT and retain VAT, 100% derivation. Federal taxes, the way you do it is that you allow states to set up their own incorporation so they can incorporate a company. I saw Foxconn in Ogun State. So I'm hoping that Ogun State is going to get a Foxconn plant in Ogun State. That's federal. Why can't Ogun State set up its own Ogun State Limited? Why must it be federal? It's in Ogun State. Why is it going to federal? Let Ogun State set Foxconn up in Ogun. Then Foxconn can pay federal tax. It can pay state tax. But why should Ogun State should be able to register Foxconn in Ogun? Tax that corporate income in Ogun, retain that corporate income in Ogun. Then the federal government can tax Ogun State and say, okay, your share to the federal is 10%, send it over. That's what a federal republic means. If you don't want the word federal republic, change it to something else. But you can't say federal republic and you are sharing VAT. Doesn't make any sense to me. All right, let's get yeah,
Kalu, let me say something on that.
go for it.
I agree with you, but it will foster competitiveness, between the states if they do it that way.
Which is what you
But
want.
there's a sentiment right now why they are doing it this way, so that the stronger states can support the weaker states.
Oh, that's
Since Nigeria has not gotten to that level where
that's nonsense.
there's sort of like an even playing field.
That's nonsense.
Again, I agree with you, but I'm just trying to provide context to why
Okay,
they are
let me
doing
give
it.
you two examples of states. Let me give you two state examples. Calabar and the Cross River and Akwa Ibom. I went to Akwa Ibom, in all honesty, when Atta was there. Nothing was in the state. I went to Akwa Ibom when Akbabi was there. The state turned to something else, developed. But that they have oil. So all Akpabio did was take the oil money and spend it. If you go to Akwa Ibom, it's everything is just beggar. The infrastructure there is world class. If it rains, you don't see puddle. That's Akwa Ibom. But that was easy, quote unquote, easy for them because they had oil money. Come to Cross River. Cross River State under Donald Duke lost all their oil wells to, is it Akwa Ibom? They lost their oil wells, so they stopped being an oil
Lost
state.
about 67 wells to
Good,
acquire.
good. So
Yes, they're still arguing over that.
good. So when I was starting my career in finance, I was in a room when a commissioner of finance came to speak to my then MD. They called me to come and take minutes. the MD of that state, the commissioner of finance of that state, came to talk to my MD. My MD was an investment banker. I worked in an investment bank. And he came and said, in Cross River State, we want to build a resort in Cross River State. We want to build this resort. It will have stores. We want to compete with Dubai. We also want to have farming. This was Tinapa he was talking to my MD about. In my mind, I was like, this guy is absolutely bonkers. Who will go to Cross River? Back then, Cross River was known for, I mean no insult. So let me just say it, was known for domestic help. Back then, that was what they were known for, domestic help. I said, who would go to
Yeah, that's true. That's
who
true.
would go to Cross River for investment? The guy says they've gotten, I don't know if I call the accounting name, but I don't know. He got in this is a top 4 accounting firm, top 4, to do a study in Cross River. And the top 4 firm told them that there are 2 things Cross River has: tourism and agriculture. So they're going to do a pineapple plantation and they're going to build this massive tourism plants in the state. This was Tinapa. Everything about Tinapa was world class and innovative in Nigeria. Tinapa was the first zero coupon bond in Nigeria's history. So Cross River transformed itself from a place that did domestic help into a state that built entertainment. Remember Cross River Carnival? They started it. The whole world went there. Tinapa was on EPL. Visit Tinapa was on Arsenal. We saw it there. They turned that shit around. You could not get a hotel from November to January in Cross River. You could not. Every December, people go to Tinapa, to Cross River. And the state was getting a lot of money. But that money was VAT going outside the state. But still, you go there, the guys will paint their roads, their houses, they did Airbnb, they will leave their homes, rent it out on the parade route. They paint it, they sell their chicken, they sell their water right in front of the road, making money, making revenues, making an economy from commerce. All they wanted was the federal government to give them a dredged port and give them license. We didn't give them. Even till today, Tinapa is not a free trade zone. People don't know this. It's a free zone. It's not a free trade zone till today. So federal government failed them. We're talking tax reform. A state went, Cross River is indebted because of Tinapa. They did the right thing to change the economy from agrarian to world class. They had an international airport in Cross. So they had an airport from the federal government. So they had the airport. So the consultant said, you already have an airport. If you build this state, then people who start going to Dubai will go from Lagos to Cross River, spend money about Lagos. Perfect. Who killed them? Federal. The same federal is going to say we should go to tax in Abuja. So when Olumide says this, I agree with him completely. You've got to hold the states to account. But the state did something and the federal didn't follow them. So other states now said, so if we do ShopRite, they won't support us. They started doing ShopRite. Sorry, if you did Tinapa, they won't support. So now they
But
just stopped
but
at
Kalu,
ShopRite.
Kalu,
It's
Kalu, are you
it's
saying
fact
that
now.
are you Kalu, wait now, are you saying that the failure of Tinapa is largely because of the VAT deductions that federal government
I'm
took
saying
from
the
them?
failure of Tinapa is because the federal government failed to do fiscal federalism. Ports and a license
Okay,
to
so okay. So it goes beyond VAT. I just wanted to clarify that. So it goes
And I'm
beyond
saying
VAT.
that even when they got the VAT from Cross River, from that terminal, where was the VAT going to? Out of Cross River. The VAT they made from the airport in Cross River State, from the people buying chicken in Cross River State, didn't stay in Cross River. It went out of Cross River. I didn't mention Lagos because Lagos is a big animal. I mentioned Cross River, a small state that earned VAT, but the VAT is leaving Cross River. Why should VAT leave Cross River? Explain to me why it should leave Cross River and go to Abia. Explain to me the reason why. Makes no sense. So we're not a federal republic in tax matters. We're a unitary state. But let's go before we go. Ayla, go ahead.
Thank
How
you.
you doing, sir?
Good
Good
evening,
evening, sir.
everyone. Um, Please, I want to ask a question, but before I ask the question, I wanted to ask. You see, this politics that you talk about, local government and
You
what
guys,
have you.
come on, man.
Last, I'm sorry. I just want to actually before I ask the question. This, when Tinubu came on board and he sued the government, the state governors to court
Okay,
for
let's just
local
go step.
government financial
Let's go.
autonomy.
Shit.
Can you hear me, please?
Let's get a tax question. Go to the tax question.
I know, please. I want. I just want to really bring something to the APC guy. I don't get. Happy that local government have autonomy to, disburse their fund and use it for the people. Because I live in Alimosho local government in Lagos State, and I know Alimosho receive almost 3.2 billion to 3.6 billion monthly from park allocation. But today, only for me to just do a little findings last month, which is August, to find out that even to date, government, like state governments, still run joint accounts with local government. It means that they don't still have the autonomy, the financial autonomy to even use the money the way they're supposed to. Because I wanted to organize some youth in my area that let's form an association where we can be demanding good governance from the local government. But we couldn't when we find out that they don't even have the autonomy to use the money that is being disbursed to the local government now. So where's the development? Where's like how are they going to do it? But that's just like you. Please, the question I really want to ask concerning the topic is you have been talking about income tax and everything. Please, what about the artisans? People that work like that provide service, let me say like barber, mechanic, like those people that sometimes you may look at those work like it means nothing much. But when you check their income from the work, I'm talking about from the work, right? It's huge. I'm speaking from experience anyway. How will they be taxed? Because ever since I've been looking at that tax bill, I've even tried to read it myself. I've tried to go online to, I've not really come across what really best
Hey,
explains how artisans will be taxed based on their tax income. I'm talking about, let me see, like all those like barber,
vulcanizer.
like cleaners,
Yeah, so
vulcanizers, all those
let's answer very
mechanics.
quickly.
Those people, at the end of the day, they make huge amount of
I
money at the
let's
end of the
answer
year.
very quickly.
Whereby even if they check their accounts income based on business, not maybe dash or gifts. I'm talking about from the business. You will notice that it's millions, like it's huge. So how would they be
I hear you.
charged,
So
please?
it's a great,
That's my
great question.
question.
And we've covered it before, and I'll cover it again. In Nigeria today, any
Okay.
income you make, is taxed. Whether you make 1 naira is taxed. Whether you make 2 naira is taxed. But the government had said that any income above below 800,000, you will not pay the tax. So you will be assessed, then you will not pay. So Vulcanizer makes a whole year, maybe he makes 500,000. He will file tax for 500,000, then he will not pay any tax because he's not up to 800,000. Personal income tax, I mean, he will not pay any tax, right? If the Vulcanizer owns a company, if his turnover is less than 50 million, he will not pay a tax. So it's very, very simple. Income, you pay.
Oh,
If you're filing on a personal level, below 800,000 per annum, you don't pay. Company level, below 50 million turnover, you will not pay. Simple. Makes sense, yeah?
okay. Okay. So what you're saying is that like those artisans will not be viewed or the same like company income tax,
If the
right?
turnover is less than
It will be
if their
like
turnover is less than 50
if
million,
it's less
they
than
will not
50.
pay tax. They will file tax, they'll be assessed, but they will
Oh,
not pay tax. All
okay.
right, perfect. Yeah.
Thank you. That's what I
All
want to
right.
know.
Let's get
Thank you.
Calabar Bitcoin Club. Calabar Bitcoin Club. How you doing? Calabar Bitcoin Club. Yeah.
Yeah,
What's up?
Kalu, how you doing? Yeah, good evening. Ben, good evening. My name is James Otudo. I I have some statements, some questions and some statements. I was when this Omo logo guy was speaking, I was indicating all of that kind of stuff. But now these are the statements. I ran for election in the last general elections around for the State House of Assembly. I am directly in the opposition, and one of the criteria was that we had to declare our tax. All right. I am a freelancer. I'm a freelancer. For Calabar Bitcoin Club, I have been trying to register it as an NGO. In fact, we are currently in court with CAC and all of that because of the word Bitcoin. CAC has refused to, registered an NGO, but that's by the way. And the reason I tried to do that was because I had foreseen this tax, this whole tax stuff, and tried to protect the entity and all of that. Now, for myself, I was asked for tax clearance. Normally, every year I declare my tax as a freelancer, look at my income and all that kind of stuff, right? I'm not against the country trying to get tax. For me personally, as a Bitcoin, I feel tax is a fraud, but that's by the way. But I'm not against the company trying to get tax, right? But the problem is Nigeria is extremely
About this point, what's the
fraudulent.
point? I want to give go,
I am,
go to the what's the tax question?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So how do I put the question now? Now, how do I put it? I was trying to relate it to my experience. I declared my tax, but the state tax agency demanded for a particular amount of money, which was way beyond what I should
Do
be
you have
taxed.
audited reports?
I filed my own
No, no.
assessment,
I asked if
right? I
do you
filed my
have
own
audited
assessment.
reports? Does your club have audited
Oh,
reports?
no, not for the
No,
club,
you
not for the
okay?
club now. This is my personal, talking
Okay,
about my
okay.
personal tax now. The club has not been registered,
So
so
what
I can't
tax is the
start paying
state?
tax on what
What
has not
tax is
been
the state
registered.
charging you income on? What income are you? So what's the
PIT,
problem with that? PI is your
that's
company
PIT.
paying PI? So what's the problem?
Now, no, I'm paying my own personal income tax as a
So what's the
freelancer.
problem? I want to go to what's the issue? What's the issue that they're asking to pay?
Now, the issue I'm asking is that how do we ensure that such kind of fraud, first of all, isn't it fraudulent? First of all, isn't it fraudulent? I know this was my income. I have filed the assessment. I've done everything. I've paid the tax based on my assessment, and the tax board is telling me because you want to run for election, we're not going to take that from you. You must pay
Yeah,
500K.
but that's
You
what
must pay 700K.
that's what I asked
Whatever
you.
it is, go and pay.
So that's what I'm asking you. That I mean, it's very simple. If you earn 10 naira, they can't see to pay 20 naira. Unless they are, what are they saying? What proof did they show that you earned more than what you filed? Because you can go to tax court now there's an ombudsman now. In the past, we didn't have a tax ombudsman. Now we have like a tax ombudsman. So today, if they charge you, you can say, "Oh, I want to go to." If someone comes and says, "Kalu, pay 1 billion naira tax," okay, that to show me where I'm getting that 1 billion from to pay the tax. Abi, that's the point I'm making. So there has to be maybe I'm driving a BMW car. Then they say, okay, you are earning money, but they have to have a basis to charge you what you are seeing and actually charge. So it's not a matter of being a fraud. It's a matter of you having your records to show this is my records of income, this is my record of expenditure, so I'm not owing. Then what will they say next? No, you must pay. Then you go to court. I don't want to,
Honestly,
Now
Kalu,
but
honestly,
that's
Kalu,
not
I
that.
just
you've
believe
answered
that
the question now.
the state government does not trust his personal
So go
assessment.
to
The
court.
assessment he
It's not for
provided,
the.
they
Yeah, it's
don't
not for
trust
the.
it. Eh.
I can't answer that question though, because I don't know the case. But I'm just saying, if that's what you. That's why we're emphasizing here: keeping records, keeping records, keeping records. If you go to your record and say, this year I made this month I made this. Okay, where's it? What's the income they are seeing that is making them charge you more than what you're saying you make? They should tell you, because they're the ones. He that assets should prove. They are to prove you make more, not for you to defend yourself. You've already filed. If you didn't file, I'll say, okay, you haven't filed. But you filed, right? So there should be no to go to court and say, hey, we saw him with 2 homes in Abak. He didn't file it here. That's how it's supposed to go, Abby. That's a legal thing, not really yeah.
Yeah,
They're after
yeah.
you with
So,
politics.
so the way the Cross River State IRS works is, you can do your self assessment online. You can file your tax,
Okay.
pay for it online, and all of that kind of stuff. Now, because I specifically say that I was running for
No,
elections
no.
and I needed a
What I
tax
can
clearance
add, because we have
certificate.
a lot. We're going to close very soon. What I'm trying to figure from you is where is their point that you make more money? Why are they saying you make more money? Did they tell you we
That's
think you
where the
make?
problem. That is where the problem is. So, if you encounter stuff like that, what do you do? That's what
You
I'm
go to
trying
you
to
go
ask.
you
If you
go you
encounter
go you
stuff
go
like
you go
that,
to the court. You go to the court. That's a legal issue. It's not a tax issue. They're after you politically. You've already said it because you're running for office. That's a political issue. The same way they come and demolish your home. It has nothing to do with environmental law. It's politics. You know, you get what I'm saying? It's not because you built your wall this way or that way. They're after you because you're on for elections. That's a different topic entirely. But the answer would be from January, keep your records. Simple, buy a scanner. Any receipt, scan and save online. Every day you do your business, just scan your receipts. Every day. You have
Yeah,
all these
thank you.
scanners on your phone. Just everybody listen,
Yeah,
just
thank you.
from if you're a businessman going for January, any sales invoice, scan them, keep them. Don't keep paper, just scan it and keep it. Every invoice, scan everything and keep. You can scan into your invoices, scan into your expenses. That's what you need to do. So you have a store. You
If
pay
you're
for
using
that.
your
Now,
mobile app,
my second
always
question is,
Use your phone. They
download
have
your receipts and save them
yeah.
specifically. If
Don't
prefer,
don't
my
save
second
folder
don't
them.
save
question
the
is,
paper. Don't save the paper because people rats will eat the paper. They will, or you have to find it. Just every day you file by day. First, every income you every when you close your shop for that day, you take 20 minutes, you scan everything online. It's saved. End of story. You file it into income or you file it into expense. So if you make any sales, the receipt you give people, you scan it. The income, the expenses you paid, you scan it. End of story. Next day, the
now
same. So we've talked
my second question is about VAT. It's about
very
VAT.
quickly.
I've
Very,
heard
very
about VAT.
quickly. Very quickly. Ask the question very quickly, sir, if you don't mind.